And welcome to the CruxCup, one of Star Citizen's premier racing leagues. Here we are going to be getting up and running for the Aurora quarterfinals slash wildcards that we've got coming up. I do apologize for any mess-ups. We are a little bit lost and slightly dazed. That's mostly because of the booze and because you're both in test gaming.
That's yeah, we're just confused about we're here because we heard Auroras and we just showed up.
Pretty much, yeah. I can't actually argue with that statement. If they let us mount a size 5 and fire us in mid-race, we would.
So, for those of you guys who don't know what the CruxCup is, it is the longest-running Star Citizen race. This is the third or fourth year in a row that they've been running it. There are always 3 brackets in CruxCup: the Aurora, the Open, and the Acrux. The Aurora is just as it sounds. Aurora's only racing. And it will come down to the top 6 best Aurora pilots in this competition in the finals. And the Open is any ship you want. It can be racing ships. It can be non-racing ships. Just any ship that you think you can fly and beat your opponents in. And the Acrux is similarly, but it is the best of the best of the best, the creme de la creme de la creme de la creme of racers who have to compete either through their own standings on the leaderboard or their own time trials that they send in to prove that they are, in fact, qualified to go into the Acrux.
So you can probably think of the Acrux as the CruxCup Invitational Series.
Mm-hmm.
Which should lead us to some very exciting racing. I'm actually personally looking forward to the Open Series with my eternal hope that someone brings a Freelancer.
I'm going for the Starfarer myself. I think the Starfarer racing is the best racing, just personally.
I mean, does it even fit?
Alrighty. So we're moving into the match now for the first matches of the Aurora quarterfinals. This is Heat...
Aurora quarterfinal 1, I believe.
All right, Aurora quarterfinal 1.
So coming up in this one, we should have Rob Dazar, Dr. Sparky, Vandel, and Better Cheddar.
That is true, and possibly two wild cards in this. So now, Robzar and Sparky did very well in the qualifiers. They both were top of their seats in the qualifiers.
And they're off. Absolutely hauling out of the gates, well, as much as a Aurora can ever really haul. Look at these things flying with the agility of a Russian brick.
Ironically, the Auroras, because they don't have such sensitive handling, they actually can take turns a lot easier and smoother than some of their racing counterparts. There's been some CruxCups where Auroras participated in the Open and actually beat the better, quote unquote, better racing ships. So
absolutely, though the Aurora is one of those ships that really benefits from decoupling. The reversing thrusters on it are, for lack of a better word, atrocious, whereas the main engines actually do give you some thrust. So we should be seeing some people really getting things out a little bit wide and loose in these ships. Looks like Better Cheddar is holding a fairly strong lead right now, taking what could be loosely approximated as a racing line.
Yeah, he's really handling these turns properly. These shortcuts are key to keeping that time up.
100%, absolutely. You need to make sure that you're taking those risks, but don't take the risk too far. If you are comfortable with the course, you can run it. But if you aren't 100%,
he almost clipped that top there.
Oh, that billboard is an absolute killer. It's does make me fondly-ish miss the days of the old antennas sticking out from them. They just removed a couple patches ago.
Oh, the wonderful antennas that you could get caught on and not realize you got caught on.
Oh yeah, you got caught on the antennas, and then you would occasionally also manage to get yourself stuck on one of the random posts sticking out of the ground as well. Those were also a good choice. Looks like Better Cheddar had a absolutely demolishing win just then with
that lap. We got one more lap to finish up the match. Better Cheddar is absolutely dominating this race, only about 2 minutes in. And there's not been a single crash that I've seen so far, which is fantastic. The test pilot inside me is kind of sad, playing a little violin for the no crashing in a race. I'm
also yet to see someone flying through backwards, which is, again, odd.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he clipped it.
Always the question is, how much damage did you do, and do you have to reset the ship?
Oh, Better Shedder has beat it off. Congratulations, Better Shedder, Robzar, and then Vandel and Sparky in the last one.
Oh. So it's also worth pointing out right now that despite the fact you are seeing quite a convincing win from Better Cheddar there, the lap times tell a different story.
Mm-hmm.
You've got second place with a best lap time of 48 and then 52 in third place. So it actually was a lot closer than it may have looked. But once you do get someone out in the front, as long as they don't stuff up, there is no catch-up mechanics. It's all pilot skill.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to kind of rely on the person ahead of you flying like I do.
You see, some of the best pilots in the verse are flying here at the CruxCup, which is why we're not flying.
Absolutely. Many descriptions can be used for the two of us. Best in the verse, not in this context.
No, not in this context. Average to all right, maybe.
Kind of okay.
Maybe a little bit. So the exciting part about the Auroras is that with the Aurora races, you're seeing really pilot skill. It boils down to really pilot skill and how they handle the machines, because there is no difference. An Aurora is an Aurora is an Aurora is an Aurora. An LN is going to handle the same as a CL as an MR. So it's a matter of how that pilot places, how they manage to maintain their speed as well as control the turns well enough. And
with the Aurora, you've got a pretty serious limiting factor on the boost. That thing does burn through boost pretty quickly, and it takes a long time to recharge it. So do you use it on the straights? Do you afterburn all the way down it? Do you or only save it for the corners? There's so many choices you can make.
It requires a lot of practice and a lot of skill to race in an Aurora. And as this game continues to develop, we're going to see even more complicated factors, because do you want to add more power to your engines or to your thrusters? Do you want to decrease your, do you want to add that a little bit more boost fuel, so get that component that's just a little bit better? Or do you go with a standard fuel and be lighter on the races, so you go into a little bit faster? So these are all components. The component factors are going to be a big key. But for today, it's still just down to how well can you grip that stick.
Oh, absolutely. You grasp it firmly and push the pedal to the metal. The choice we're going to see also is going to be what's happening with atmospheric flight with the introduction of 3.0. Will we see 3.0? Will we see atmospheric flight on the race courses we actually have them? So it should be pretty cool. Very excited for it. So
all right.
Next up, I believe we're going to be coming. We got the Aurora quarterfinal 2. Little voice in my head. Is that correct? Okay.
We're still getting confirmation on what we're going. The original plan was to do a quarterfinal and then go on to the semi-finals. Right now, it looks like the quarterfinals. If you guys are interested, CruxCup.com/brackets/ will bring you to the exact things we're looking at to show you the race times and placements for each of these races. Now it's going to take some time for everything to get updated, and of course, racers to get settled. So.
And part of it is always the fact that you do have to fight your nerves a bit on these ones, because you are going up in a bit of a high-stress environment. Despite the leisurely pace that you do move in an Aurora, we're coming into the pointy end of these races. So there is a bit of pressure, and you are fighting for bragging rights.
Bragging rights, bringing that up. We can talk about a previous winner who is a fantastic friend of us, and you make a pretty good impression of, I would say. There, fair assault.
Boot polish, though.
Yeah. Mr. Captain Richard is a previous winner of the Aurora finals here at the CruxCup. Proving that just about anyone can actually win this. You know, because
it's largely a game of skill, but there is always a little bit of something extra that's required in these races. And sometimes that's luck, sometimes that's everyone else crashing, and other times it's just holding off on your derp until the very last lap.
That's the key sometimes.
It's the pressure not to derp.
Not derp. Don't derp. Yeah. Just hold the derp.
It's like dodgeball. It's duck, dodge, dive, dip, and don't derp.
So if you're going to the quarterfinal 2, that's going to be Mike Maverick, Gimp Kid, Zach, and Ellie, with Reigns Prime bringing up the last slot on that one. It looks like that's probably going to be an interesting one because I believe Gimp was one of the finalists in the last one for it did pretty well in his last outing, and that's actually
out racing in the wild again recently. I've personally come across it quite a few times when I'm throwing myself at the mercy of the match picker on the live server.
Oh, it looks like we have the qualifiers. Oh, is it the qualifiers? Why am I looking at the qualifiers? All right. So still looking at the brackets. We're still waiting for the latest information. So it looks like stalling for time. Why did they change this? I am confused now. It's all right though.
If ever you think what could possibly go wrong, it's about to. It's always the question that I do bring to these ones is why do you compete? If I were to ask you, the Astropub, would you say you're doing it for bragging rights? Are you doing it for the fame?
Yes, but it also might be that sweet Argo LTI combo pack. There are going to be surprises, some winners, some prizes for the winners. At first place, we have the LTI Anvil Hurricane for the Aurora Classic. Second place is an LTI Origin 350R. And for third place, you have the LTI Argo Combo Pack. And the prizes just keep getting better with each category. The Open will have third place a Misk Razor. Second place is a Banu Defender. And a first place is a Aegis Clips. And with the Creme de la Creme race, the Acrux Championship, you have a third place, you have the Prospector. The second place, you've got the Eclipse. And first place, you have a 2-pack, a Defender and Car2All. So
pretty fantastic prize packs being put up by the organisers. Organisers of this event are, of course, SCA, which is an Australian organisation within Star Citizen. Highly recommend checking them out. Again, you can get the details of them over at CruxCup.com if you're interested. Now, if I were to say that I was racing, unfortunately not invited to the invitational this time around, it's just an oversight, I think.
A total oversight.
Yeah, 100%. I would, of course, be doing it to be the very best, like no one ever was.
Is it going to be your real test?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So with this future going on, the one thing I'm looking forward to is the Open. I'm looking forward to the Open, partially because I'm looking for the odd combinations of ships. You never know some person, someone could bring out a Buccaneer. A Buccaneer is actually fairly fast for a ship. It's not as fast as a racing ship, but it has better, pretty good boost fuel, and it's very maneuverable. But Open 2 quarterfinal or all right. So the next race, I'm just hitting a little voice in my head saying that it's the Open quarterfinal 2, which is Fractal Archon SW Swixu. What's that? Let me jump into
That's what we're just trying to work out which race you're spectating.
Yeah.
Won't be much. So much yellow. Yes, indeed.
Rubio? You said okay, so that's Open quarterfinal 3. Anarl, Angel of Peace, Techno Ninja, Rubio 9, and Fapo is what we're going to be doing right now.
And potentially a wild card that we're not sure. So we should be coming across to that one shortly. They're just finishing the setup for it. Again, it's always the question of what are people fielding. Unfortunately, due to restrictions of Star Citizen in this particular patch, it does mean that we do have to spectate through one system, which does make the pre-game a little bit difficult and relies us on our memory, which is never a good thing.
We're loading it up right now for this match. And again, these are the quarterfinals. The top 3 of these racers will go on to the semifinals to duke it out, to possibly get into the championship. It's pride, it's money, it's glory, it's the chance to go na at your opponents. That's what these races are here for. And the best of the best showed up here at the CruxCup. 29-47. Speaking of which, if you too want to own a piece of CruxCup history, you can purchase a CruxCup T-shirt. It's one of the only non-official CIG shirts that actually has the Star Citizen logo on it. It's a very cool T-shirt. You should check it out on CruxCup.com.
Looks like we are getting up and running for this one. Game is just starting out of this box. Oh, there goes an M50. With someone's brought a car to well. Always good to see.
All of them are out of the racetrack, it looks like.
M50.
Oh, it looks like we have some collisions here.
Lightly brushing the edge of the racetrack. You've got to wonder, is the car...
Oh, they're having some hard time controlling that.
Is the car-to-well pilot someone who flies it all the time, or they just brought it out for the subscriber fly free week? But either way, it's good to see some variety out there rather than the traditional M50 versus 350R battle.
Oh, no!
I'm thinking they're flying it like a rental, so...
You must have bought that insurance on that rental.
Oh, absolutely. It's the fastest car in the world. Whoa.
I'm having lots of trouble with controlling these M50s. If you're not...
will get away from you if you succumb to the temptation of afterburn on the straights. You have a very long time to stop them.
And you can't drift too much in this. You drift too much, you mistime your drift, then you're just done. Slow and steady does win the race.
Absolutely. Slow and steady also helps you survive the race, which is a different issue entirely. But either way, if we can just quickly glance at the leaderboards.
No one has finished a lap yet. This race has been chewing up its contestants. It's one of the longer races, the Open Cup.
It's what happens. We are on Record Memorial here. I've watched far too much Captain Richard, which is one of the longer and more challenging courses. But once you knock it down, you can get a pretty good rhythm going, which is always good.
It looks like we've got Rubio. Is that Rubio who's on front? I don't see the name. Papo is up front. Fapo is up front. With Rubio second place.
And then Techno Ninja in third. Techno Ninja yet to finish a lap, unfortunately, but looks like Rupo must be one of the 2 M50s that we are seeing flying around at the moment. So again, we are experiencing some minor issues with the expectation of this race due to the nature of the game at the moment. But it's certainly proving to be some pretty stylish flight here. I'm especially awarding bonus style points to the Jian Scout pilot.
I'm hoping that that Fapo is the one flying the Jian, because it means a lot that the Scout is actually beating the pants off of these. Oh, it looks like he blacked out.
Yeah, it's the always the problem you have with the ship quite as agile as these M50s and Scouts. Is as soon as you do end up over boosting just a fraction, you're blacked out and you're flying into a building. Also worth pointing out, the Jian Scout has a similar front profile as a Freelancer hull, so going to be pretty accurate again, I think, through the center of those gaps and rings.
Oh, another collision there.
Those slight mistakes when you're doing speeds like these people are do really punish you very quickly. So trying to get these ones through and done. Looks like we are still on lap 2, coming into lap 3. Could be we believe that Rubio is the person in the Jian, which means Fabio's in one of them 50s. So getting things through. Some pretty awesome flying here. Also some fairly unexpected levels of collision. But again, it's the name of the beast when you're flying these ships at this sort of speeds.
especially with the latest build of Star Citizen. It's very hard to control it and at racing speeds.
Oh, it absolutely is. So it's normal SCM speeds. All these ships are very agile, very easy to turn. But once you do get the speed levels up and you're starting to flirt with the afterburner button, she flirts back. It's not always pretty.
Looks like we're still coming in on heading to the third lap. Nope, Fapo has won the race. His M50.
Nice. Rubio coming in second with that Gian Ayopa Cartuel. And Techno Ninja coming into third place.
Now, the nature of this beast, because there are only 3 contestants, all 3 will be moving on to the semifinals.
So you think of this as a very aggressive round of practice.
Yes.
Default, my 2 favorite words.
So now, and luckily, all of the open races are taking place on the same racetrack. So, and there we go, popping in. So there was a lot of crashing. I wasn't expecting the open to have that many crashes there. It was surprising to me. I don't know. So
it's surprising, but at the same time not surprising, because obviously pressure can get to you. These ships can get very difficult to control, and also this one is not the invitational. This one is if you'd like to come along, come along.
That's true. These are not professional racers. However, many of these guys, you'd expect them to have a lot of practice with this,
so to speak.
Yes. So. And I'm still hoping to see a Buccaneer, maybe a Gladius in these races. You know, who knows? Someone might bring out an Aurora. Considering how much skill those Aurora pilots were showing off, who knows? A good Aurora pilot might win everything in the open. A man can dream. A test man can dream.
I've got a case of beer for if someone takes out the open class in an Aurora. As long as you're over the legal drinking age, I will ship it to you.
Gosh, yes, please. So I think that's going to be it for the Open and the Aurora quarterfinals. Next, we're going to be seeing the semifinals. Again, if you guys are looking forward to seeing who's doing what, this is going to be updated as the race goes on. CruxCup.com/brackets. And again, if you guys are interested, CruxCup.com has all of the information on prizes. You can even buy the shirt there, as I said before, which is a fantastic little piece of memorabilia. It's a piece of Star Citizen history right there.
Absolutely. It's got some very nice branding on it. You can see all the normal sponsors on it. So MISC is a sponsor of the event. Obviously, SCA. And your standard ship manufacturers, it's pretty awesome to see them out and about. Though some of us were hoping to see the Razor out for this event. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. It's coming soon.
TM. But the cool thing about this is that it does have a stylized MISC Razor on there. I think it's the only place you can get a official T-shirt with a MISC Razor logo and the MISC logo with the Razor on it itself. Vertical.
It's configured in a vertical way, so if you actually it's down the side of the shirt. If you check out the CruxCup.com website, you can check out the shirt just over there. But certainly is a pretty cool looking ship. You've got the Razor on the front, you've got the MISC logos down the side, and event logo, etc. All available. Definitely worth having a look into. Is available in most sizes, and is pretty reasonably priced because it's printed on quite this nice light sort of esports jersey shirt style finish. So it's they're quite nice. I am not doing this because they're sending me one.
No, we're not doing these because they're paying us in T-shirts or anything like that. But it is sponsored by Big Benny Noodles. So yum, so wow.
Much MSG. Monosodium glutamate. It's the festive flavor.
Them carbs in space, man. Them carbs in space. So we're waiting up here for the semifinals. Again, I'm actually more impressed with the Aurora's pilots. They were very, very professional and agile. And
not words you normally assign to an Aurora pilot.
Not at all. but they knew how to handle their ships, and that was fantastic, show of professional racing skill from an Aurora pilot.
Once again, that it's not the speed of your ship; it's how you handle it. I'm done. I'm sorry, I can't.
Oh, who's up here?
Sorry, we are just waiting for the details of the next one.
Looks like the quarterfinal 2 for the Aurora races has been updated. Gimp Kid came in with a best lap of 52 seconds at first place, followed by Mike Maverick, Reigns Prime, LL, and Zach and Wildcard. It was a no-show, so it looks like Gimp Kid, Mike Maverick, and Reigns Prime will be showing up in the semifinals, along with Better Cheddar, Robzar, and Vandell from the quarterfinal 1. From
the open quarterfinal 2, we've got Sereni Vastia with a 106. Note this one is in a longer track. They're on Record Memorial. So you've got Sereni Vastia on 106. Andre Schramm on a 107.57, Swixu on 117.8, and Archon on a 124.6. So some quite a lot of variety on those lap speeds. Sredeni and Andre were probably quite close in that one with a difference of only about 0.7 of a second, but certainly getting out there.
And then, of course, we have Techno Ninja, Rubio, and Fapo will all be going on to face them in the semifinals. We're still looking for the quarterfinal 1 and quarterfinal 4 to be tallied, as well as Aurora quarterfinal 3 and Aurora quarterfinal 4 to be tallied as well. So
we should be.
I'm getting word that the next one's going to be an Aurora race.
It does excite me. It makes my nerves tingle a little bit.
Is this going to be the question is this going to be a quarterfinal or is this going to be a semifinal? The Aurora quarterfinal 3. Okay, so we've got predetermined Faza, Yoris, Raven CW, and C4 120 are going to be here for the Aurora quarterfinal 3 here at the CruxCup 2947.
We're excited. Can you tell?
Yes.
No, honestly, I love watching these Aurora races. I love watching the Simpsons Donkey class because it's a lot of it's some unique challenge flying the slower ships through racetracks like this. I'd love to have seen the Aurora class on the long track as well. It would lead to a fairly large differential between people's speeds because on those longer tracks, saving that boost really does become critical. But seeing the Auroras flying around flying around the short track is still a lot of fun because whilst they aren't going particularly quickly, they do have to do it very precisely.
Yes, and the thing about the Auroras is it's really hard to catch up. Once you start, if you lost, you're done. So let's.
You can always play life a little bit dangerously. Try to. Looks like we are just about to ready up and get off to a start. But yeah, you can always play life a little bit dangerously and hold that afterburn for a little bit longer coming into the long straight. There's actually 2 different long straights on this map. But again, you often pay the price by overshooting the exit of the turn by so much.
Well, it looks like we have a bugged racer. So we're going to have to restart the match here shortly. Pop back. So this is one of the problems about the alpha gameplay, ladies and gentlemen, is sometimes you get false starts like this. So now, of course, the CruxCup is an annual event that anyone can sign up for. So even the invitational, you can sign up for if you're a good enough racer. So making your presence known here at the 2947 CruxCup is a great way to start if you want to get in that Acrux. So if next year, if you want to sign up, you can always go to CruxCup.com to sign up.
100%. You can start yourself off in the slower courses, or if you'd like to, just go straight into open and try your luck with the really fast stuff. Of course, by this time next year, we should be seeing a bit more variety of races out on the track. But as always, there will be a particular ship that becomes a bit favoured. We did see this time last year we were looking at the 350Rs. Now it seems to be leaning more towards the M50s.
Yeah, it seems to be. I'm wondering though how this is going to develop as the game is developed. If we're going to start seeing some of the slower racer ships like the Omega or the Gamma be favored simply because they handle much better than the M50 or the 300s. Or
the game will be entirely changed if we do see atmospheric interference come in.
Yeah, that's true, especially if depending on the racetracks themselves. So I'm looking forward to seeing the development of racing just here at Star Citizen, specifically with the CruxCup.
Should be a lot of fun. We'll also be able to see some open world racing rather than sim racing. Should always be exciting, though expensive and risky for your future livelihood.
The question is going to be as well is will the CruxCup expand its racing next year? Because we do have round racing being a thing in the game here shortly. So we could have some Nox racing here in the future here, the CruxCup maybe.
Be exciting. Otherwise, of course, you can have a bit of guns hot racing in the Ursa rover.
Or Cyclone with that nice mounted machine gun. You know, 2 people, maybe slow you down a little bit, but you got that mounted weapon there. So
I've always personally been a fan of going out racing in the verse in a less than law-abiding manner using the Avenger Warlock, because nothing says you're not going to make this turn quite like an EMP.
Oh, that is the best type of racing I've ever seen, by the way. That's just fantastic. I want to see more of that. We need to see more of that in the universe. Next to my second favorite is, of course, the Retaliator racing, where it comes down to how many torpedoes can you withstand before you get blown up. It's kind of like Mario Kart with real missiles.
It's a bit of a race to see who can stay at the back of the pack until the final lap.
It's like Mario Kart where everyone has blue shells. So
only for some reason everyone has 6 of them.
Yes.
It gets a bit messy. Sounds like sounds like we are getting up and running. They're just reforming the group. So we'll be up and running for the next race very soon.
So these first 2 hours are dedicated to the Aurora and the Open, and then we may break for a little while if we have some time between. So for the Acrux, of course, the Acrux being similar format, we're going to be seeing at least one of the quarterfinals, then 2 semis, and the final. With us, of course, the top 3 racers of each heat going on to the next level until we are down to the last 6 racers in the match.
Absolutely. So it should be quite exciting to see those Acrux races. I imagine we'll see the skill and precision of the Aurora racing team with the speed of the M50s.
I'd hope so. Or the inner NASCAR fan in me wants to see explosions. So lots and lots of crashes and death. That's the way that Americans race. So I'm hoping we see a couple of Americans.
The quality racing, not the crashes. Yeah.
So it looks, I'm checking the brackets. Looks like we have not updated the brackets quite yet. Or it looks like we're starting up now. We are starting up. Again, this is the Aurora quarterfinal 3.
Yes.
And they're off. Look at that. Just precision flying. Oh.
Well, until that happened.
Until that happened. One of them flew off into the distance. Maybe they did a little bit of pilot.
It wasn't precision flying at all. We can just quickly see the scoreboard, and we're up and running. We should be seeing some pretty impressive lap times in this one.
Looks like Raven CW is in the lead.
Followed by Predetermined C412105 and 295 something, making it very easy for the commentators there.
Looks like a wild card entry there at the last minute.
Absolutely. So Of course, with these tracks, it's important to note that the Aurora does not make lateral turns very well at all. It does vertical turns fairly well. So if you're pitching up, it does fairly well. But if you are turning left to right, you'll have a bit weaker on your thruster placement. And then if you are obviously decoupling and facing that bad boy backwards, the main thrusters are very potent. So it's always the choice. Do you reduce your speed and accept the safety that is G-safe and also coupled, or do you go decoupled? Do you turn off G-safe and just go hang it all out, so to speak?
Looks like Predetermined is still bringing up to second place. Third place, he's dropped the third with C4 taking second place. Raven is just absolutely smoking his opponents.
100%. Lap time's about 17 seconds a lap faster than second place. So that's some pretty impressive domination coming from that one.
And remember, the previous races, the differences between second and first was sometimes measured in milliseconds, let alone full seconds. He's got a full 17-second lead on his opponents. I don't know how the second or third is going to be able to catch him.
Oh, it's relying entirely on excessive use of the afterburn, and hopefully, from the second place player's perspective, a rather rough impact with something large and solid.
Looks like they're having a hard time making that tight turn there between the second and third goals.
Oh, it's a tough one. You can do the old decouple just before it, go through that second ring sideways and boost to get through it, or just accept that you'll brake quite a lot and make that turn tight as you can.
So what you're saying is they should use the boost to get through.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One could almost say you need a booster seat.
All right. It still looks like Raven holding a commanding lead here.
With C4 in second place. The lap times, however, are telling a different story here already. C4 running a 51 second, trying to play catch up, but Raven CW has firmly stamped their authority all over that one, much like a World War II British officer does over the Australian Armed Forces.
No salt from the fair salt. So Raven, C4, and Predetermined are going to be making it onto the semifinals here at the CruxCup. And that means we are down to the last quarterfinal of the Aurora, and that was the last quarterfinal. Okay, so that's it for the quarterfinals. Three out of three.
Yes. So that one, I believe you're going to be watching an open momentarily. It looks like the quarterfinal one is finished. We have IPOC taking the lead in the open quarterfinal one with 1 minute 3 seconds and 69 milliseconds at first place. Aowen at 1 minute 11 minutes 57 seconds, second place. Left Step at 1 minute 29 seconds 43 milliseconds in third place. Then with Red Horse and Dantus bringing up fourth and fifth. Red Horse's time best lap being 2 minutes and 3 seconds, and Dantus's being 4 minutes and 15 seconds. That's pretty brutal for that last. There must have been a couple crashes. Again, very few crashes in the Aurora Open there, or the Aurora class for our racing. Which is either confirming that the Auroras are very agile and highly able craft, or that they're going so slow you have lots of time to correct mistakes. Really could go either way.
And I'm leaning on the skill, just because I personally want to believe that the Aurora pilots are the best pilots in the universe. But yeah,
seems to be. You are flying a torpedo after all. Looks like we are just waiting for confirmation on which one's our next race. It shouldn't be too much longer. I do apologize for the lack of gameplay. These races are very, very short. They do throw themselves down very, very quickly. But, getting things up and running again is always
it always takes some time.
Form the race.
It takes time to form the race, get everyone in. So, and now each of these races have a spectator who is the man behind the camera, and a official to make sure that there's no shenanigans going on in the race. And all the rules are being followed. So there are a maximum of 6 players in each race, and as we get closer and closer, we will definitely have 6 players leading up into the semifinals and the finals.
Now, according to the rule of the CruxCup, collisions are strongly discouraged. You shouldn't be shoulder barging your way past the racer in front, but that doesn't mean we're going to completely avoid a bit of rubbing against racing. It's unfortunately, with the way that physics are running in the current builds of Star Citizen, it does mean that if you do impact with another player, more often than not, it's hotter than hot in lots of no way. That's a different one. More often than not, both end up going flying off into the distance. So you've always got to do you push it really tight, get past them on a place where you probably haven't got room to overtake, or do you give them a little bit more space and try for later but risk not passing?
I'm really excited to see these semifinals and finals, because some of these racers are fantastic in terms of their handling of their craft, especially the Aurora craft we've been seeing. With times such as 47 seconds. So it looks like 47 seconds being the fastest time by Better Cheddar in the quarterfinals, followed closely by Robzar, then Vendel, then finally Gimp Kid and Mike Maverick. With Reigns Prime coming up sixth fastest so far in the quarterfinals. It's weird because it looks like quarterfinal 1 had the fastest racers and quarterfinal 2 had just enough. So we'll see when we just did quarterfinal 3. So we'll get the final best lap times here up here shortly. But with the Open, it is a little bit of a longer map, but we're still seeing the difference between the top racer IPOC and the second best racer Vashtar is only about 3 seconds. And while that sounds like a lot, that's one missed turn or one just scooching a little bit too much on the slide when they're trying to come in through a gate, and someone can overtake each other.
That's a difference of like lifting half a second earlier on your afterburner. 3 seconds just adds up very, very quickly.
Awesome. So we're actually going to go through the last quarterfinals here at the Open. Quarterfinal 4 with Energy, Drift, Napalm, Relgrim, Portal Boy, and Alrith 1299.
So it should be an exciting race. Again, we'll see what ships are being fielded as they exit the gates. But the racing is always exciting when people are bringing a variety of ships. Possibly even when we're looking at a collection of the same ships, as long as they're all Auroras.
Now, I am wondering to see if there's going to be a difference, if there is any difference between some of the Aurora subvariants. I know we're in racing, so there's no weapons, but we do know that for instance, the Aurora LN has a slightly better power plant than the other Aurora variants. I don't know if that meant.
MR takes a bit of a hit on top speed, I believe, but the Clipper, I think, is the best combination of engine pack and power pack from memory.
Yeah, so
5 meters per second.
It may not matter much in 2.6, but again, in the future, that might mean a huge amount of difference in terms of those times, which, as we know, are seconds away from each other in many of these races.
But
alrighty, so
looks like we are just about ready to go. They are loading up and getting things ready for the race. This one should be another exciting one with some nice fast gameplay. Again, I'm yet to see any of the pilots really rocking the decoupled that much. Most have been going very strongly coupled, very much like an atmospheric vehicle. So,
this is interesting. They've updated the quarterfinal 4 for the race completed. We already saw quarterfinal 3. They haven't updated the times yet, but it looks like the the winner of that race, Torque, had the third best lap time of all the quarterfinals for the Aurora Classic. So
48. That's not a bad lap.
That's not a bad. That's milliseconds away from the second from Robzar, who was the second best lap. So we're going to see some really close races here when it comes to the semifinals for the Aurora. Let's see. We'll see. I'm not too sure about the Open. It seems like IPOC and Vashtar are just miles and leaps ahead from some of them. Third place, 107.57 from Andre. I don't know who's your favorite going into the semis with the open class from what we've seen so far.
I don't know. I actually think it's hard to look past Sredeni, who I have seen out and about in Star Citizen, and does seem to have a fairly firm grasp on keeping those laps fairly close together on lap speeds. I'm not actually sure about IPARC's consistency, because obviously lots of players can throw down really good laps. It's a matter of stringing them together to form a good race. That's the hard part.
That's true. These laps can be sometimes deceiving because a good lap is great, but a good race is completely different. And a lot of these guys maybe have cut their teeth on solo matches, which are completely different from when you're dealing with other players. The netcode becomes much more of an issue. How to deal with other players in the race? How do you manage your speed boost? How do you pass players? Your placement in the actual starting line? All of those things matter when it comes to finally pulling off a victory or a loss in these races.
And how do you manage the extreme anger that builds up inside you when you're trying to pass someone flying a cutlass?
But that's a completely different thing. That's actually really good to think about is mental state. When you're flying solo, you're just going for the best time. When you're flying against somebody, you're going to have to think about how the other players are handling it. And sometimes just being second place or third place right out the gate can actually be very mentally frustrating.
On the subject of the gate, we are off, up and running. It looks like M50, 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 and I think I might have seen a
P52.
Yeah.
Go P52. Oh, looks like we have some crashes here from the M50s.
Gentle brush with netcode. Things are getting a bit weird right there, but we are out smoothly racing again until they weren't smoothly racing and they hit something. So
go P52.
Oh, I'm a firm believer in the P52. You can put together some pretty good lap times on those P52s.
Energy.
Generating boost, so it's a pretty major handicap.
I think the P52 has one advantage is that it handles very smoothly. Its speed, it's fast, but it's not so fast that it's hard to control in those turns.
Absolutely, but the two downsides for the P52 are that you have terrible downward vision and also no regenning boost.
No regenning boost is a huge problem, yeah, especially in these racetracks. Absolutely. Energy is absolutely dominating his competition right now.
It's getting a bit brutal.
1 minute 11 seconds.
Ooh.
That puts him even at that time puts him in the top 5 of the best laps here at the Open.
So we will see what happens as this race winds itself towards the end. We are just coming into lap 2. It looks like as everyone struggles to avoid the placed advertisements that we are.
Advertisements, more like death-vertisements.
Oh, mate, the billboards there are there to catch you if you fall or if you don't fall.
We'd like to thank our sponsors, MISC, for not supplying any of these billboards and keeping our racers safe.
Absolutely. Musashi Industrial and Starflight Concern. For when you need to do whatever in the verse, MISC has a ship for you.
Just about.
Unless you want to go really fast, in which case we are still waiting for the MISC Razor. Soon. Again, it looks like we are just getting a bit of a domination, a bit of spanking here from Energy, just through slightly higher lap time. So still best lap is the first lap at a 1:11. Poor boy with a 1:36. So
Energy was the one to look for going into this match. Rumor had it he was the fastest one. Don't blink or he'll beat you. Kind of fast. So.
But again, you got to focus on maintaining your concentration. Yes, you've got to focus on your focus. You've also got to focus on your boost management and just making those turns smoothly.
Coming into the, I believe, second lap here.
Looks like they 100% down to third place and fourth place, both with 2-minute plus laps. So down to a 2-man race at this point, with Portal Boy in second and Energy.
All right, it looks like we're on the third lap. Still 1 minute 11 being the best lap time.
Yeah, it's hard to throw these laps together.
And Energy just pulled out a really good lap there at the back, the end. 1 minute 3 seconds. That puts him at 29 milliseconds. That puts him at the top, the fastest racer here for the quarterfinals for a lap.
1 minute flat with a 29.
Is that 1 minute flat? 1 minute flat. He beat the top racer in Open by 3 seconds.
That was a very hot lap. So some solid racing. But again, it's all about consistency, because we've seen their best lap in the race in the tournament so far is also someone who would have maybe had a top 5 spot if they threw together their first lap several times. So even someone with averaging out like a 103 would probably still manage to hold off with a victory in that case.
Yeah. So again, it's deceptive to look at the lap times, but you can't not see Energy's race race and his laps, going from a 1 minute 11 lap at the very first lap to finishing stronger than he did at the start. That says a lot about a racer being able to finish better than they start off with absolutely, because when you start, you have absolutely perfect conditions for you to make a good lap. There's no mistakes. You make the mistakes on those laps, but you start off at a perfect dead stop. And he was able to pick up that and improve upon it that last lap, which is a fantastic show of skill and racemanship there. So racemanship, that's a word now.
Come through and recover from what was probably quite a poor lap or at least from their perspective, in lap 2. So it's always it's recovering from mistakes that's really is the big difference.
Yeah, that's being able to recover from a bad lap and being able to finish strong is probably more important than a good lap time. Oh. All right, so we've got 5 minutes in the next race. Let's go over the final brackets here.
Again, if you are looking for the details, you can get them at cruxcup.com/brackets. They've also got, down the bottom, the ability to buy the CruxCup official shirt if you would like to pick one up as memorabilia, also as just kind of a swanky thing to wear.
They look fantastic. They're very well designed, and of course they have the official Star Citizen logo on there, with the Misk Razor, one of our sponsors here for the CruxCup, Misk, as well as the SCA and Big Benny's Noodles.
So yum, so wow.
Yum, 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 yum. So, in terms of these brackets in the Open, it looks like the top seats we're going to see are IPOC, Elwin, Left Step, Sardini, Vashtar. I just like calling his last name. Andre Schramm, Swizu, Fapo, Rubio, Techno Ninja, Energy, and I didn't even see who the second and third racers are. Just so blown away by Energy's final lap there.
Yeah, we should be seeing some pretty entertaining racing. It's always good once you get towards the point end of the racing, as it does very rapidly weed out the people who fly, like someone who wears black and yellow.
Now, again, this is also the third year that they've done the CruxCup here, and hosted by SCA, and the CruxCup has a long history of racing excellence, and also some derpage going on with some of its winners, but specifically with the CruxCup, this is the longest running race in Star Citizen.
They got on this bandwagon very, very early, and were competing when it was just Arena Commander. That was the only thing available. We didn't even have the Vandal Swarm or Pirate Swarm or Open World at all, which meant that there was some seriously large amounts of hours thrown into barrel rolling your way through the tracks here at Old Vanderbilt Speedway.
Let's see. And in terms of the Aurora racing, we have the finals times lapped up for the Auroras. It looks like the best racer was Better Cheddar, who is, again, I think the racer you're going to look for. But C4 actually did a fantastic job. He actually did a better, as you pointed out, he did a better race time than the winner of Raven CW. So he might be, coming from behind and getting a better lap, even finishing second is definitely one of those things you got to look for in the finals. Because again, it's not a matter of how well you fly; it's how well you fly under pressure, especially if you get started off at a bad start.
A bad start. Someone's a little bit slow on the front race, so it's a little bit slow on the front row can lead to an early race collision, and you're playing catch up from there.
All right, it looks like we're going into semifinal 1 for the Auroras. That's Robzar, Better Cheddar, Reigns Prime, Matthew Cox, Raven CW, and Predetermined. If you're looking at this race, looking at their previous, it looks like Better Cheddar and Robzar would be the leading the pack there, with Reigns Prime coming in at, I don't even see his timing on here. 105, yes, 105. Then Matthew Cox, and no, Raven is up there as well. It would be Robzar, Better Cheddar, Robzar, Raven, Reigns Prime, Matthew Cox, and then Predetermined. So they're all pretty close. I mean, the slowest of these racers came in at 106. So, and
I don't think we've seen the best of them yet. To be entirely candid, I think. These folks, there's a little bit left in those tanks. Those Auroras, if you are flying them to the very best, you're looking at a sub 1 minute lap.
It looks like Reigns Prime has dropped out of the race. So we have Robzar, Better Cheddar, Matthew Cox, Raven, and Predetermined. Again, the top 3 of these racers will be moving on to the finals.
So looking forward to quite an exciting race out just forming up. We should be up and running with the race momentarily. This is, again, semi-final 1 for the Aurora class, the Simpsons Donkey class, because why would you race something fast when you can race an Aurora?
Real men race Auroras. I'm just going to say that. Yeah. And real women.
I cannot dispute that. Hopefully we're going to see a shipping class coming up in the future.
I'd love to see a drag race in the future with like souped up freelancers or starfarers in straight lines.
Unless we are getting up and running. If we can, 3 seconds on the clock. And they're off. They lumber their way out of the start lines as everyone firmly depresses their boost button to try to make it around that first turn.
So we have a bit of a misstart for one of the racers.
So
they're handling him fairly well. This is definitely a semifinal.
Oh, you can tell there's definitely a lack of people finding billboards so far.
Better Cheddar is actually leading the race right now, as was thought. He did have the fastest race in the fastest lap in the last quarterfinals.
But again, it's sometimes those bad laps come from pushing yourself too hard. If you push your luck just a little bit too far, you're going to have a bad race.
Coming at 47 seconds. Doesn't look like we're still in first lap.
So we should be seeing lap times on the first lap, probably somewhere in the ballpark of 102 to 107. But hot diggity dog, Better Cheddar just threw down a 51-second lap and a 55 from Raven CW. Those are some hot laps.
Mm-hmm.
I think
now this
careful, it's going to turn into nachos.
The question is that are we going to see some chicken, or are we going to see some fried chicken here at the end? Because I want to be able to cook my beans on the holes of these Auroras as they're coming in this fast.
Absolutely, and there's also the question of how much have they got left in the tank? These guys got just dry on the afterburner fuel, or are they coming into lap 2 with the intent of throwing down even faster ones?
That's a good question, because I think if I was in these Aurora pilots' head, I would not be using my boost fuel too much. I'd be very sparingly in these early laps, because you never know who's going to make a mistake and lose control or hit the wrong side of a building.
However, that person so far is definitely not Better Cheddar, who just threw down a 48-second lap.
He's getting better. He's not quite as good as his final lap for for the quarterfinals, but he's still commanding the lead here in the first semifinals of the Aurora Classic.
Absolutely. It's taking a firm grip and dominating this particular race. The other players are mostly just having to rely on the chance of a derp.
Here comes the final.
They're through.
Better Cheddar has won.
Confirming their victory. It looks like Better Cheddar, Rob, and then Raven is in third. With failing a last-minute change, I don't think that's going to be changed. I don't think that one's going to be swaying too far, because you can see very clearly descending order of lap times as well.
And those are the three tops that we saw in the quarterfinals as well. Those are some of the better races we saw here at the CruxCup Aurora Classic here for the semifinal one. So we will see Ramzar, Better Cheddar, and Raven on to the finals. They have put their slot on the top. Now we are waiting for the semifinals 2.
Throwing their hat in the ring, so to speak, for that pretty sweet prize package presented by SCA for the Aurora class.
Now, what will they be winning here if the Aurora pilots do win? What are they gonna walk away with?
So we do know that the third place for the Aurora package is the 3-pack the value pack of Argos. Then second is, call me on this one. Second is the LTI Origin 350R, and first place is an LGI Anvil Hurricane. It's a very expensive ship for flying a very, very cheap one.
Yeah, we're starting up with Aurora semifinal 2. This is, of course, going to have Gimp Kid, Vandal, Mike Maverick, Torque, Dude 3D, and C4. Now, I'm still thinking I'm going with C4 on this one. I think C4 is going to win this all. He had the better lap time, and he came in second against Raven, who is moving on to the finals. So I'm calling for a C4 win with Gimp coming in second, and Torque maybe coming in third. Though Torque he did win it handily the last race. So
Mike does also have a fairly solid chance in this one as well. There's Mike Maverick from XPL.
Mike Maverick, yeah, he did come in with 58 seconds.
Yeah. Which again, I think there's probably more in that tank, but we'll see how it goes. It's always in these ones. It's how brave you are with that afterburner to see just how far you're willing to risk it down that the two main straights.
It looks like they're very, very close. I was going to say they're very, very careful here through that, but it was very close, neck to neck clump there at the very beginning.
This is what happens when you start getting the pressure. Is you start to push yourself a little bit further where you don't normally push yourself, and it's always a risk. Sometimes it pays off. Sometimes it really doesn't.
So far, it looks like Torque is dominating the race.
It's to the surprise of not many. Torque is
looks like Torque is dropped down to fourth.
Gimp Kid grabbing that spot. Looks like it must have been a missed ring from Torque with Vandal and then Dude 3D into third place.
C4 is at the very bottom of fifth place. I have egg all over my face right now. You can see it right there. It's just everywhere.
It's just glad it was egg, I guess, is always the case around here. The racing here is certainly fast and furious, and there is another collected billboard.
The Aegis billboard's taking the most.
Oh, that billboard takes an absolute beating on these racetracks, as people try to push themselves a little bit too fast around that side. But coming in,
this is where we usually hear that annoying commentator talk about race safety and races and stuff like that. Trevor Basque.
Trevor Basque was not in fact invited to this one, and I do still have my standing bounty on his head. If you bring me proof of kill, I'm paying that.
Yes, death to Trevor Basque.
Oh, Dude 3D with it, throwing down a hot 50-second lap. Solid effort. Gimp Kid with a 53, and also first place Vandal with a 53 as well. So looks like Dude 3D trying to play catch up right now, shaving 3 seconds on the race leader's pace. They are getting pretty close. But,
yeah, you can see how close these are, even in this in these videos. You can see they're just neck and neck in some cases.
Very close racing. It's very much a risky game at this point because you've got about another 100 meters to finish. And
Vandal has won the race.
Vandal with Dude 3D coming in a very close second on that one. They're practically flying in formation that close.
4 milliseconds difference between the first place and second place winners. 4 tenths of a second.
And
4 tenths of a second.
With a 53.7. So 3 to progress this time is Vandal, Dude 3D, and Gimp Kid. C4 unfortunately getting knocked out, and Talk. It looks like something just fell off his ship at some point.
He must have hit something, just couldn't get back up. That's the problem. If you get a bad you miss a turn, you hit something. Sometimes you just can't pick yourself up and get through the rest of the race. So
I was a bit worried he hit that sign so hard he fell off the internet. That was a serious whack.
And of course, my hopes and dreams are shattered. Thank you, C4. You have shattered my hopes and dreams. I am a broken man.
Thank you, C4, for shattering the Astro. Now, next up, I believe, is going to be an open semi-final.
Yeah, we're going on to the open semifinals. That means that for the Auroras, the finals will be Robzar, Better Cheddar, and Raven, with Vandal, Dude 3D, and I believe Mike, or was it Gimp, who was the third place?
Mike appeared to be not in the top 5 of that one. I'm not actually sure if we had a turnout from Mike on that race.
Looks like we have a lot of M50s for the Open. And one Car2All.
Car2All there with the big sign on the back says, "Have fun passing me."
Who knows? In these M50s, sometimes you just have a hard time controlling that. Now, do we know who's in the semifinal one for these Open?
I'm actually not sure on my numbers yet. I know we will have IPOC, Sudeni, SWI, Swixzu, Rubio,
Energy,
Techno, and Energy. So some pretty hot laps. This is definitely seeing the time to beat here.
Yeah, this is the I think this is the race to look at, because we got some of the best racers in Open. IPOC and Energy. Energy went 1 minute 3 second, or 1 minute 3 tenths of a second in his best lap for the quarterfinals, and IPOC came in at 1 minute 3 seconds. So, I mean, IPOC and Energy are the ones you're going to want to look at this race. But we never know. We could have Vashtar come out, because he did win his heat pretty handily as well. So
Rubio being the wild card in his large alien-looking craft, but might be able to hold them off. Maybe. We're just waiting for this one to form up. Shouldn't be too much longer. It's always the case of getting the back end work done. Normally, you only see us two idiots, but it's the back end people that really do all the work.
Yes, thanks so much to our crew in the back end, the race officials, and Dragon Diablos, who's behind the camera filming this and doing everything. So if you have any death threats, hate mail, and or other horrible things to say, blame us, not Diablos. Wait, I'm sorry, I got that backwards. Blame Diablos, not us.
And he will forward that email nicely across to the organizers of the event. Looks like they are about to switch over to the race. We are just finalizing everything before we can get started.
Here we go.
With the well-documented scene for anyone who's raced, players not ready.
Players not ready. There's that. Oh, it looks like the front ship is that Car2All. Slow out to the start. Now, the interesting thing about the Car2All is that it may be a giant blocker for some of these other ships. If you get behind that Car2All, it's going to be difficult to pass them through the rings.
Oh, absolutely. And if you try to pass it in a ring, you're not going to fit, even in something as slender as this M50. Looks like we have got a netcode bug happening on one of the players, where from their perspective, they're doing fine, but from our perspective, they are flying backwards. So.
Energy is still taking the commanding lead here.
But you can see how heavily invested they are on the afterburner on that lap. Followed by a brief but very commanding stint with that wall. Looks like it's Energy, Sreni, Rubio, and then Techno. So Rubio not in last place, fairly comfortably in third right now, which would get them to progress to the finals.
Yeah.
After all, the top three on these ones does progress through for the next race, followed by Techno Ninja. Well, I reckon it's a bit of a dark horse. I reckon Techno could come through in those top three. Maybe not the top one, but definitely top three is within their grasp. So flying through turns 4, 5, coming around to turn 6, which is a big roll underneath that.
Just handling it like a champion. Afterburner is pulling really hard.
This one's always a bit of a challenge, coming out of that short straight and then out to make that tight turn. I've seen a lot of players black out on that bottom ring. Because,
I think the key for this is rolling while you turn as well, because that'll reduce the G forces on your body as you're going through red outs and blackouts as you're going up and down all throughout these.
If you're ever watching these races from the first person of the pilots, you'll see that the vast majority of the time their screen is grey.
Mm-hmm. They're just pushing the absolute limits of their ability going through these matches.
Around here, like with this ship, safety gets removed, so does most of the wing assembly. Because that's just how we race. Oh, there's a gentle love tap of one of the rings.
Oh, that looks like a netcode error there.
That one would be Engie having an issue. There's Rubio flying stately, living in true comfort there in the hamster ball, controlling the two blue wheels to fly this beast.
Flying with one wing. Yeah.
Oh, it's these ones are going to be finished with most of an M50.
And these races are a little bit longer, not as long as the Acrux. Acrux are actually the longest races here at CruxCup.
So we are here on Record Memorial, and the Acrux series is going to be done on. Whoa, Engie has taken that one out fairly convincingly, with Stradani in second and Rubio in third. Rubio holding out against the fleet of M50s behind him to claim a fairly convincing third place. Techno obviously has had some technical issues there, throwing down a 2-minute 40 best lap. But Energy with a 1 flat with a 6, Stradani with a 1.7 with a 6 on the back end as well. So some pretty convincing racing from Energy and Stradani. Stradani obviously just slightly outclassed, but definitely putting on a fair showing.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to see the Car2 all make it all the way to the finals here. Since this is I think this is the first CruxCup we've actually had the Car2 all in there. I don't believe the Car2 all was available until a little bit later in the year last year. So
Car2 all came out quite late. I think around September in 2016.
Yeah,
so it's been out for a while, but it's almost been out since about the time we had the last patch.
Not bitter.
No salt at all.
No salt. So we're going to be moving on to the semifinals of Open 2.
Which should be quite exciting. Up in Open 2, we have got Eoin, Left Step, Andre Schramm, Fabo, Portal Boy, and Arith 1299. Out of those ones, we should see seeing some pretty cool racing. They're not the top seeded players, but Eoin throwing down a 111, Left Step throwing down a I'm not
129.
Oh, 129. Okay.
So we have a false. That race was actually a false. I don't even know how to put this. False start or whatever.
We're going to be redoing that race shortly. The race we just went through is being rerun due to some disconnect/dropout.
Alpha. So much alpha. So with that, we're going to be going on to the semifinals 2 and then redoing the semifinals 1.
That's correct.
All right. So if you are here and you are enjoying this, consider buying a T-shirt. Tell your friends, tell your loved ones you were here. 2947 CruxCup has all our sponsors, including Misk and Big Benny Noodles, because all of our racers are.
If you can't afford to buy the T-shirt, just set your Facebook profile picture to you photoshopped onto one of those shirts.
That's horrible, Fairasol. Oh.
I am the worst. They shouldn't have brought me here.
The worst with a U. That's the truth.
Yes, I am a German sausage.
He is. That is exactly how I describe him. He's as salty as one too. The thing about this race is that with the Open, we're seeing a lot of M50s. I am still wondering if Rubio can make it all the way to the finals. I mean, we're gonna have to restart it, but perhaps Rubio might squeak it out there with his slow but steady racing. I mean, he did 127 the last match and coming in third, which seems a little slow, but he did 10 seconds. He shaved 10 seconds off of his quarterfinals lap time. So who knows? Especially with these M50s flying around like the Wile E. Coyote with a rocket strapped to his back. He seems to be much more stable and assured. He might actually finish the race alive rather than his competitors. So,
of course, with the metaphor of Wile E. Coyote with a rocket strapped to his back, we haven't seen any 350Rs coming out and about yet either.
That is true. That was the big one last year, was the 350Rs, and now it's back to the M50s.
And I'd like to point out that these folks in the open category are competing for some pretty serious prizes. Third place in this tournament does go home with an LTI Misk Razor. The second place does go home with an LTI Banu Defender. And first goes home with another LTI Aegis Eclipse.
A sweet but silent ship.
Unfortunately.
What's that?
It doesn't come with the tarp. They're not supplying the tarp on this one.
No LTI tarp.
No.
I mean, I don't know if it's worth it. I might go over the Defender. At least the Defender has the sweet interiors.
That's very true. The Iron Man style racking, which is a very, very good looking ships coming up. Actually, we should hopefully be seeing some more information on that Misk Razor in the very near future, along with the Aegis Eclipse. Hopefully, I think the Banner Defender is probably a bit further out though. Definitely.
The next open race is all M50s.
So this one is all pilot skill and netcode not missing.
This just in, CruxCup is changing the name of the open to the M50 Invitational.
Where you can run what you brung as long as what you brung is an M50. It's like turning up to a open night at the drag strip and you see nothing but Gen 3 Camaros everywhere.
Oh.
There's like one guy in the background with a fox body Mustang going, "Woo!
So at least if this way, if they change the rules that you're racing for pinks, you'd be winning the same ship.
Oh, absolutely. And around here, it may also be a rental, so you might be winning the pink slip of a rental.
And off they go. That is a really tight formation at the gate.
Absolutely hauling aft into that first and second ring. Third ring, nice and confident, coming into the fourth past the Origin Jump Work sign, or possibly into the Origin Jump Work sign in that particular case. Looks like our current race leader is Andre, then Eowyn. So it's a pretty good one with left step in third. Again, we're seeing some very, very fast racing with, unfortunately, some very, very fast errors. A slight error at these speeds will just have you careening off course. Even just misjudging your approach angle by like 1 degree is going to have you catching the edge of a ring as you fly through. But these M50s certainly definitely looking the part of a racer.
They're definitely they're handling these turns very, very well. Again, all it takes is one small error, one small lapse in judgment, and you're getting down to a wall rather than that ring. Andre with a 101 flat, looks like 109 race,
and Ewan with a 110. Very nice, very, very close racing on that first lap. Less than a second between them, or just on a second between them. Fairly. It looks like things have calmed down a bit. Never mind. I take that back. Right there. Gently nudging the edge of the tunnel.
Just a small tap. It was a love tap. He love tapped at that corner.
Oh, absolutely. But the rest of his ship got stuck on it like fluff on Velcro. So, up and running. Again, it's a little bit challenging to accurately get a good idea of the closeness of the races, because at these sort of speeds with the M50s, you will be seeing a difference of like a second or a second and a half, be 100 or 200 meters. Andre still on win with Eolin in second. Leftstep has dropped back to fourth, which has facilitated Fapo to step up into third place. Top three of this one do go through, so it's very much high stakes at the moment.
The top two races are only a second apart in terms of lap times. Again, this just means that one small mistake, and Andre. It looks like Andre is now in second place. Eowyn with the first, even though Andre's got a better lap time. Eowyn, like I just said, just that one small mistake, and suddenly you're behind the first. You're behind the second place guy.
It is absolutely all it takes is one small derp, and suddenly your ship is spread across the field, and the opponent is up ahead of you. As we see another M50 missing large sections of its body, trying to get through a gap that it just won't fit.
Oh, no. Just missing these turns. And one mistake can lead to another. It can lead to a panic, and then you're out of the race.
Oh, absolutely. So the worst thing you can do on these ones is afterburn too hard. If you afterburn too hard, you get through the next ring, and then you go flying off into the great unknown. These poor own ships. I think the only one really profiting from this race in particular is the insurance company.
Everyone, there are men in suits who are laughing as they watch this race,
and other men in suits were holding contracts saying that insurance doesn't cover this. Eowyn managing to claim the victory on that one fairly solidly, with Andre and then Fapo into third, fourth and fifth Portal Boy and Leftstep respectively, and then Aerolith in sixth place. Very, very tight racing between Eolin and Andre. But again, we're seeing a case where the fastest lap is not necessarily the winner.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to just point that out, that your statement about the fastest lap is a good point here, because Elwyn managed to just inch out on that second to last lap there, managed to inch out Andre, even though Andre had dominated the first place lead for most of the race.
But then you look at your total lap times, so your total race times, and you've actually got a difference of about 6 seconds there from Eowyn to Andre. So Andre's obviously had a terrible third lap, which has led to Eowyn just happily running away with that victory.
Yeah, absolutely dominating with it. I mean, we say absolutely dominating, but 6 seconds is a long time in racing.
Oh, absolutely. It doesn't matter if it's an inch or a mile, it's still a win. But when it's a win by 6 seconds, it's a pretty significant win.
Now we've got that's the second semifinals. Now we have to redo the first semifinals because of technical issues. But it looks like at the very least, Elwyn, Leftstep.
So was going through the next one, we've got Fapo, Elwyn, and Andre. Was it Andre?
It was Andre. Yes, and Andre. Yeah, it was Yes, that's right. Elwin was the first place, Andre was second, and Fappo was third. Which is interesting because Fappo, I believe, won the quarterfinal 3. But, he managed to make it through.
Throwing down those lap times. Did manage to get through, but off the pace by nearly 20 seconds elapsed from memory. So pretty large gap back to that third place, but still managed to claim it. So might be able to pull things together for the finals. So.
All right, now we have the creme de la creme of all the Aurora pilots. The best Aurora pilots here at CruxCup are going to go head-to-head for all of it, for the big cheese, the big kahunas.
And by all of it, we mean the LTI Argo Combo Pack, the Origin 350R, and then the Anvil Hurricane. So this is some pretty significant cashola for the top 3.
That's not to mention being known as the best Aurora pilot in the verse.
It's solid bragging rights, though I feel that getting it printed and carrying it around on a plaque isn't going to be very relevant for many of the people you know.
Yes, I don't know if it's going to be a very good resume booster, but hey, someone might be impressed.
Absolutely, it's always the issue that you do face when getting new employees. Is like, have you got any qualifications or references? Well, I've got a qualification here that says I'm the best Aurora player in Star Citizen. Like, what? Oh, never mind. So we are getting into the Aurora Grand Final, and this final contesting with Better Cheddar, Robazar, Raven CW, Gimp Kid, Vandal, and Dude 3D. Better Cheddar firmly the name to beat on this one, throwing down some very fast lap times and consistency. Mm-hmm. So it will be very good to see.
Now, Rob's has been almost just 1 second in each of the races he's faced against Better Cheddar. So Robzar, he could still pull it out. He's like we said, we saw this last one. 1 second determined the difference between victory and defeat, which then turned into 6 seconds in terms of lap times. So lap time versus race time. So who knows?
It's a matter of just trying to string those laps together to pull it into a victory. But with 1 second difference on lap speeds, it's going to be a case of getting a clean start, getting through that first lap nice and quickly, nice and smoothly, and then carrying that speed through. Because a single accidental brush with danger or a piece of turf is going to end you on this one. Of course, all
right, we're getting started.
Risk of catching a Origin Jumpworks sign.
Yes, the Origin Jumpworks sign seem to be the killers for the Aurora matches, while the Aegis signs seem to be the killers for the Open.
Absolutely, you're not really seeing the Volvo signs with the safety features built into them. No, this is Origin Jumpworks, where safety is optional.
It's luxurious optional, but. Here we go.
Get up and running with 3 seconds to go as we sit here watching a flotilla of Auroras coming through. Some of them moving a lot faster than you really expect. Again, out of the gates there, you see 2 of them in very, very tight proximity trying to get things started. Looks like we did have one explode on the start line, and I'm a little bit disappointed to say that we haven't got any star kitten skins going out about right now yet.
Yes, there's nothing like winning so bad and then winning with a star kitten skin. That's the ultimate in humiliation.
There's winning, and then there's winning whilst racing a pink spaceship.
Yes. Raven CW is in the lead here. Oh, it looks like it's swapped out. Dylan 3D, Dude 3D is in the lead now.
Raven CW, then Gimp Kid, Robazar, Vandal, and Better Cheddar in last. Hot dang.
Better Cheddar. This was Better Cheddar's game to lose, and he's losing it.
It does seem like it is the commentator's curse going firmly against Better Cheddar on this one. Obviously being the one to respawn at the very start.
Raven coming back out to the front at a blazing fast speed of 57 seconds.
Which that's going to be a pretty tough one to catch with about a 5 second lead on the next player. So fairly difficult to play catch up with those sort of distances. But I do think we should be seeing, hopefully, we'll be seeing Better Cheddar catching at least third place with this one.
You think he can make the difference?
I reckon he's got a firm chance because remember that we're seeing lap times in the sort of mid to high 1 minute laps, and we know the better cheddar can throw down those 50s. Can throw down those 50s like they are on the dance table at a CD bar.
Oh, Robzar taking that.
Robzar claiming second with a 1:02 best lap. Gimkid 1:01 best lap in third place with
54 seconds.
Oh, dang, Rob into a 55 best lap. Gimkid with a 58.
Rob's he's only 1 second behind.
Dude with a 49 second. Dude 3D definitely playing catch up, firmly depressing that afterburner button and just not letting go. Trying to find the back of the ship ahead. Better Cheddar, unfortunately, still in last place, but hopefully we'll see a bit of a recovery from this one. They are on lap 2, coming in on the 3 finish. Raven CW with the victory there. Fairly smooth going from the start. Robo with second, and Gimp Kid in a fairly tight third place at this point, but we won't know till they cross the finish line.
Okay.
And we are done. Well, there we go. That is the victory to the Aurora class. Very, very comfortably stating that they are the best. They are very proudly claiming that they are the best Aurora racer around. Also, we're pointing out Do 3D doing their very best to catch up and get back into the pack with a 49-second lap in the middle of that race. That's some
49-second.
That is some pretty fast racing. Absolutely hauling around. That's right on Robert Cesar and Better Cheddar's times from earlier heats.
Mm-hmm.
So genuinely convincing race. Unfortunately, Better Cheddar, we do apologize for the commentator's curse there. It is what happens when the commentators declare you as the favorite is something will go wrong.
Yes. So in this case, be aware, open finalists. We will probably call this for who was this last one? I will probably call it for Energy, and we're sorry ahead of time, Energy. We apologize.
Well, sort of sorry.
Sort of.
A little bit. So very, very good job with the races in that one. That was some very, very engaging racing. Folks throwing around those Auroras at paces and in places they probably shouldn't be taken. It's the 24 hours of lemons of Star Citizen racing those things around there. And we are going to be coming into the Open Series shortly. We'll be doing the Open Series. I believe redo
the semifinals
from what I've been hearing in the background. But we are just waiting to find out.
Sure. No. I think we're going to do that.
Yep. So it sounds like we will be doing a brief interview with esports champion Raven CW here at the best, arguably the best racer of Auroras, and therefore every ship in Star Citizen.
That's true. That is very true.
That is that's how it works, right?
That is exactly how it works.
Okay, good.
Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
So I can gloat with pride that I have beaten former Aurora champion Captain Richard in racing.
And I still say that the Aurora pilots showed more control and skill than some of our open pilots. However, we'll see how the open goes. I still am thinking it's going to be a fairly one-sided match with Energy taking most of the lead. But again, I thought that Better Cheddar was going to just smoke everybody, and he ended up having a poor performance. One couple bad starts, and he was in last place. So who knows?
it's the way that racing goes sometimes, is you will just end up in a situation with the odds stacked against you due to just one bad moment. You just have to play catch up the entire time.
Alrighty, so we're waiting for the setup for the Open. We're going to do a brief interview with the winner.
With Raven. Should be good to see his perspective, because again, our perspective and the winner's perspective is not always the same thing. And welcome, Raven. And,
Raven?
we have you, Raven.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
There's some very convincing racing. You were in second there for a little bit, but then managed to claim that first place. How did it play out from your end?
Well, I just saw no one in front of me and just kept going.
Now,
the best way to overtake is not realize you've done it.
Yeah.
No, we were wondering about like your strategy with these kind of races. Were you boosting on the straightaways, or were you saving the boost for later in the race, or were you just kind of boosting wherever you had a chance for? Were you ending this with an empty tank or a full tank?
I had boost running the whole time.
You were boosting the entire time.
Did not let off the button.
It's a fairly bold way of doing it. Was that including the long afterburn down the straights?
Yep.
That does explain the lap times, but you certainly have bigger breath runs than I do on those.
Yes,
long.
That's the impressive one. Anything in a boost, even in Aurora, sounds like it's dealing with a moose on soap skating on ice kind of handling there. Was there anything that you did to prepare for this? Did you do a lot of practice on your own, or did you just kind of said, whatever, I'm just going to race in Aurora?
No, I did quite a bit of practice there.
How much would you practice on average for the preparation for this?
I practiced maybe about an hour this week.
So, just light practice. Did you shame many people in public races?
Couple, but that's just because me and another Aurora kept winding up on Defford Link.
Throwing the Aurora around Defford Link must be a bit of an adventure, because that's a lot of turns for not much ship.
Yeah. Especially since the boost doesn't take you the whole way around.
No. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and very much congratulations on the victory. I look forward to hopefully seeing you back again next year with a new Simpsons Donkey class. Fingers crossed, still Auroras, but we could well see it in a different ship if they bring out a new most terrible / best ship in Star Citizen.
All right.
Thank you so much, Raven.
Okay, thank you.
And good luck. And
alrighty.
That was Raven. Fairly, understated with the. And have you practiced a lot? Like an hour.
So
those laptops I need to be throwing in like a 60-hour week in that ship.
Yeah, that's what I was. I'm impressed that he just held down the boost button and didn't let go. Like that sounds like you would run out of boost real quickly in the Aurora after a while, but I guess not. It's a very, very slow burning kind of ship.
So many congratulations to the winners in that one. Again, a quick reminder from the SCA organisers. Raven has managed to win himself an LTI Anvil Hurricane. Second place got a 350R, and third place got an LTI Argo combo pack. So very, very generous from the SCA organisers. Again, it's worth checking out the Southern Cross Alliance on the RSI website, and also check out CruxCup.com for all the deets about this event. So you can sign up for next year in the Open Series or the Aurora Series.
Indeed. Going forward, though, we will have the Open Finals here shortly. Now, the Open Finals, again, these are anybody who signed up for it. Though it looks like we have a couple of races to watch. Other than Energy, was there anyone in the races that you think might make it? Because again, we are going to have to they may have to redo the semifinals one.
So I'm about to be spectating the re-recording, the rerunning of the semi-final. So he should be up and running momentarily. This will give us a firm understanding of who's coming in to the finals, and also who's really on point with their M50 racing. I mean, no, it's M50 racing, let's be honest here.
Oh, yeah, it might be actually the M50 racing. Okay. This is not the redo. This is the final.
This is the final. And the open for the grand final is going to be Energy, Ipork, Srendi, Vashtar, Eowyn, Andre, and Fapo. Now, of those ones, Energy throwing down the sub 1 minute lap. And as far as I know, the only one to throw down a sub 1 minute lap on this track in these ships, followed shortly by, it looks like Ipork with the second best lap time. And then you got quite a big cluster of people in the low 1 minutes and the mid 1 minutes. So it should be some close racing, but definitely the people to watch right now are Ipork and Engie or Energy.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm still have hope that Fapo might be able to pull it into the second or third category. You never know, though. Looks like it's Engie and Ipork's race.
Yep. Andre's not too far off the pace based on his previous races, and neither is Srendi. But you're looking at a quite a big gap of 4 to 5 seconds per lap. So here we go, getting to the start. This is the grand finals of the open racing. So we should be seeing a flotilla of M50s come flying out of the gates, and there they go, and there they're gone. Quick little fellas, aren't they? These are the Origin Jumpworks M50 in their wonderful racing red livery. Throwing themselves around the Ricord Memorial course. So for those of you who've played Star Citizen extensively, that is the second course, not the longest one, but nor the shortest one. So we're seeing some quite complex and tight turns coming around where it's all a matter of G-force management with ships that are this fast.
It looks like Ipork and Energy are leading the two. Srendi just looks like he just died.
But yeah, Ipork very much clearly in the front, in the lead right there.
It looks like Energy is right behind him, though.
With Energy then in third as well.
Eowyn, where did Energy go?
I think Energy went everywhere. Has been spread across the field. Looks like we might have actually had a disconnect there, potentially. No, Energy is in third.
Energy is in third now. He's managed to climb back up there. Now he's back in second. He's really aggressively trying to go after Ipork's lead.
Absolutely. So it's very much a case of chase the leader right now with three very competitive races, followed by a pretty heavy run to try to get up into that third place for the third prize-winning position. So Andre, the Energy, should be seeing some pretty impressive lap times momentarily.
Yeah, I say these racers don't start off well. They start off usually in their slower races, and then they make up the time in the second and third laps. Third lap being the key lap for many of these racers. But 5 seconds is still one mistake by Ipork, and he could get caught pretty quickly. And Energy is very aggressive trying to get back to first place.
Absolutely, though has dropped down to third place again, back up to second again. Andre and Energy are just swapping positions right now, duking it out, trying to get past each other to try to catch up with the winner. Of course, if they do duke it out too much, it will actually be handing the lead and the victory to Ipork, as any misfortunes that happen to either of them is only benefiting the race leader. But,
exactly. It is Ipork's race to win at this point.
You could almost say it's actually Ipork's race to lose. So fairly comfortable lead there, most likely, trying to avoid making mistakes. So just be a little bit easier on the boost. Runs at 9/10 instead of 10/10.
Oh no, Energy
Unfortunately ate the side of a mountain.
A little too aggressive there. Still looks like he's in second place.
Fortunately, with the 2.6 patch, we did see a much faster respawn.
Yes.
In racing, so even a regretful incident or encounter of the close kind can be recovered from much more easily now.
And Energy has shown that he can do pretty fast laps. He just did a sub 1 minute, 58-second lap here at Ricord Memorial, which is insane.
That is a hot lap. Those are paces we haven't seen since back in about 2.3. Which is some at least not from the spectating that we've been doing. So
Not at all.
Very nice speeds being held through here. But yeah, it is looking like it's going to be leading to quite a close finish.
IPOC with the victory, followed by Energy at second place.
And looks like
Andre at third.
With 10 seconds between second and third, and first and second, again, about a 10 to 13 second gap there. So, oh no, 15 seconds. Wow, IPOC just comfortably cruising away from the rest of the pack to claim victory. IPOC taking the open category of the cup. So very, very fine racing there from IPOC. And that does, in fact, net IPOC the grand prize of an LTI Aegis Eclipse. Energy gets themselves an LTI Banner Defender, and Andre getting the LTI Misk Razor. Fantastic racing there. Really tight racing with some juking about.
That was that commentator curse. We apologize in advance, and Energy lost. He didn't lose. He got second place.
There were the spectators.
But that was a fantastic racing, very, very smooth finish for IPOC. And my hat goes out. I tip my hat to Energy with that sub-minute race time for Rickard Memorial. That was a very, very impressive race run. Very impressive.
It's always good to see the pressure not affecting someone in a significant way like that. It means that a very cool head underneath that helmet.
Very cool.
So it does sound like we will be taking a short break from the stream. We'll be dropping over to the Be Right Back whilst we do get prepared for the next stream. So you won't be seeing our smiling faces for a moment. However, we will momentarily to get up and running again.
We'll take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll interview the winner of the races.
And running up and running.
I guess we won't be doing an interview with the winner. He doesn't have a mic to interview with, but we will be taking a break.
Who knew? It's definitely a hampering factor. But yeah, we'll be taking a short break, getting up and running for the invitational part of tonight's work, which is the Acrux. We'll be seeing some very well-known names throwing themselves around the track on the Defford Link track. So thanks for stopping by. We'll see you again shortly. And thanks for watching.
And fly safe.
Well, safe. And we're back.
We're back.
Short intermission there. Some of us needed to refuel with scotch, of course.
Scotch, the choice, the drink of choice here at CruxCup, here at the broadcasting booth at least. Everyone is drinking it. You should too. And when I mean everyone, I mean everyone.
The lot of us.
Even the racers. This is going to be fun. That's really what separates the wheat from the chaff is how well can you fly an M50 while raging drunk?
Raging or drunk. We'll pick either.
So this is the creme de la creme. The best pilots in the verse are here to compete at the Acrux Invitational here at the CruxCup.
It certainly should be a great one. We are seeing the quarterfinals number 1 coming up next. We see Vigi Ver.
This is quarterfinals number 3, apparently.
I apologize. Quarterfinals 3 was Cats 740, Olga, Husky, Nighthawk, and Calrati. Some very, very competitive races here. We are hearing rumors that it's not entirely M50s, though, which is somewhat of a surprise. But should be interesting to watch.
I'm interested in seeing how Nighthawk deals, because Nighthawk, who is a friend of many of our streams, is a diehard fan of Star Citizen. So I don't doubt that man has been been racing nonstop since he got into the Acrux, just to prepare for himself.
Absolutely throwing that poor, battered and abused M50 around and around and around that racetrack.
It looks like we're ready to go. We're going to be going here to Defford Link, the longest racetrack in the game right now. So this is not just a speed race. This is an endurance race.
Oh, absolutely. It's endurance on the ships. It's endurance on the players behind the ships. And it's endurance on the commentators.
That is why we all refueled with Scotch, the other alcohol.
This stream is presented by Johnny Walker Blue Label. It's delicious, but not very nutritious. And yes, this is just a glass of Scotch.
This is also just a glass of Scotch.
Because certainly a good one. So we are hopefully up and running soon. The races are all ready. We are just waiting for the final go on the start. It should be a very, very tight race, very close. But again, keep an eye out for the sheep among the wolf, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it is the last. Sometimes it's the last place winners who are going to beat everybody else out. It looks like the 350R.
Wow, Batman's out and about in the test gaming colors, but threading that needle through the first lap. Unfortunately, our wolf in sheep's wolf clothing wolf is somewhat damaged already with that Xeon Scout. However, still managing to throw it around the track. Again, it is predominantly M50s, but not exclusively, which is always good to say.
The leader is flying a 350R. That does say a lot. Cat's here still holding a tremendous lead. We'll see how fast he's actually going when he gets to this first lap. Again, this is a endurance race more than it is a speed race, and the M50 is not built for endurance as much as the 350Rs are. They have much bigger tanks to handle much longer fuel burns, and they are technically a little bit faster in the straightaways, if I remember correctly.
Absolutely. However, they do suffer quite a bit in a pitch maneuver. If you're turning up and down, you may have a bad time in the old 350R, but in the M50. Any turn is a great turn as long as you don't black out.
One does not simply not black out in a 350 or in a M50, though.
Oh, no, absolutely not. That's why you'll see a number of these pilots will corkscrew their way through the turns, where they'll go into a turn and they'll start on one plane, then rotate it through the turn to balance out their G-forces and try not to black out. So, yeah, 40. Whoo! That's a fast lap. That's a 145 from Cat 740 in that very good-looking Batmobile in test squadron colors.
With a 2-minute lap there for our second place So we have Katz, Rudnev, and Gabriel Winters. Nighthawk having some struggles there, and Colradi bringing up the bottom.
But definitely, it is Katz's game to lose with that fairly significant lead.
15 seconds. Yes.
Significant errors. It will be a bit of a runaway with that black and yellow racing machine.
And that's the key. The key with the 350 is that he actually has the advantage here, because the way most people make up speed is in those straightaways, and the 350 is going to beat an M50 hands down in a straight race, and a straightaway race. So,
absolutely. Unfortunately, our friend in the hamster ball is coming in last place at the moment, but wonderful spectacle flying that beast around. It's always good to see someone bringing something a bit different to the field.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm actually kind of surprised that we're actually seeing a 350 here at the Invitational.
It's always been a competitive ship, but it certainly requires a different type of gameplay. You have to be a lot more willing to throw out the handbrake and space brake your way around the turns, whereas the 350R, so the M50, a little bit better at holding that speed through the turns. The 350R does require a little bit more. So you need to arrest that momentum before you can get that thing around those turns.
I do have to note that that 350R does have a giant Gatling gun on its front nose. So tip of my hat to you, sir. Not only are you winning, but you're winning with a huge cannon in the front.
What's the saying? If you have to run it, make sure you put a cannon on it.
Yeah. Oh man, he is just making it look easy through these turns.
Oh, just like point A to point B to point C to point D, and that's just calmly handing themselves a victory. Though, an error shows itself very quickly at these speeds on these race ships, especially on this track, because this track is, from memory, it's about 18 points to turn through, and they're off plane, they're off axis. You got to duck between buildings, and
very few straightaways in this, if I remember correctly.
Oh, absolutely. There are a couple of straightaways, but none of them are very long at all. I think the longest straightaways are probably measured in probably 300 meters or so. So you'll get up to your top speed, followed immediately by braking again. Especially considering the longest straightaway is across the start-finish line, which will lead you to a 90-degree turn down off the axis. So,
just missed it. Blacked out in that turn.
145, 149, 158, 2 minutes 30 on the fourth place. So your lap times do definitely peter off slightly after the top three. But
it would be interesting to see if these racers do in fact do a better. There we go. Katz coming away with the victory.
Calmly proceeding through the start-finish line. Throwing down at 143, which is slightly better than the first lap, but only by about 2 seconds. So that's one of the big things on this track, is your second and third laps aren't going to be that much faster. But yeah, it was Katz, Rudnev, and then Gabriel Winters in third, with Nighthawk in fourth, just outside his top three, unfortunately, Nighthawk, but still a darn good race.
Yes.
Trying to get things out there. On this track, it's also worth noting your second and third laps aren't going to be much faster, because straight away after the start-finish line, you do have a 90-degree turn down to a second ring, to the first ring, and the second ring is shortly below it with another 90-degree turn. So you do bleed your speed immediately as soon as you come through the start-finish line.
It is definitely a slower race, as we said before. It is definitely a battle of wills rather than a battle of speeds. Still, 350R, a bold choice there, but definitely netted our victor there pretty handily. So tip of the hat to you there, Katz, for a fine damn race. Let's see how these other guys won't be able to handle this.
Oh, it's always a chase. I imagine that end of a 3-lap race on those tracks, anyone using a joystick or dual joysticks is there shaking their wrists out from having to focus.
Now, I do have to say, as we both have been participating in the Star Citizen Competitive Combat Club broadcast team, we have seen a lot of combat players, but I'm interested because one of the players who's in the quarterfinals for the Invitational is Zeron, who's a member of Renegade Squadron. Not normally one of their biggest biggest things is racing. So it'll be interesting to see how he deals with the change of pace.
Oh, absolutely. Though it is arguable that it is the same core sort of skill set that you need for racing, which is focus and ship control. It's not even. I don't think it's even about top speed on this track in particular. It's all about ship control, getting the ship where you want it, get it turned on the dime. Because if you miss your braking marker, you're hitting something on this track.
Now
or the other way is if you boost too hard in a turn, you black out, you hit something.
So the answer is don't hit something. Just do your best not to hit something.
It's basically the opposite of a calendar that you looked on the wall, where you want to avoid saying I'd hit that.
So the key with this one is maneuverability. So to me that says, again, more M50s than 350Rs, but we may see more 350Rs as Cats handled very beautifully through that race. Do you think we might actually see the rare but still very present Omega or Gamma in some of these races?
It's a bit hard to say. So the Omega and Gamma, they don't have the top speed that you'd want for the longer tracks like Record Memorial. It just doesn't have the top speed to keep up with everything. But it is a very agile ship, and the Omega in particular regens boost very quickly. So it could be a very good ship to bring along to this one. And definitely looking at the open leaderboards, the Omega has a presence on there. It's not at the top, but it is on there in the top sort of 50 spots or so. It's also, the other downside to the Omega is it's quite a large ship, relatively speaking. You've got quite a lot of presence to tuck between the needle that you need to get through on this track. That first slalom, where you'll see all the competitive players are ducking underneath and between buildings to get through the first, rings 3, 4, and 5. You end up needing to put it through a very small gap. So this is the next race, getting things up and running.
Yes, this is the quarterfinal. Do not know which number this is, but this is the. So this is the quarterfinal one with VG Vert, Xeron, Vic Baloo, Blunt Rocks, Dragon of Pog, and Fallon Lacer here at the CruxCup Acrux quarterfinals. Again, you can follow along at home by going to cruxcup.com/brackets. I'll put that here in chat for you wonderful folks to follow along with. Figure out who is racing, their times, and so on.
And they also have got, of course, the opportunity to pick up some merchandise, specifically a shirt, if you'd like to. Down the bottom of the page, just click on the Buy Now button and clad your torso in the finest of racing merchandise.
Yes, it is the 2947 CruxCup shirt with the CruxCup logo on the back, the logo from our sponsors, Misk and Big Benny's, as well as the SCA, Southern Cross Alliance organization, who's put this together. And on the front, it has the Misk razor kind of off to the side. It is a fantastic shirt, especially if you're a Misk fan or you're a racing fan. It's a must-buy because it is one of the only shirts out there that has official Star Citizen logos and merchandise on it that has been approved for sale. So you're only going to get it this year. So my suggestion, pick it up. It's a pretty good deal.
Looks like we are up and running, and they are out. If we can just... that is some fairly significant speed being carried through those turns. The M50s throwing them around like they just don't care. With Xeron in the lead, VG Vert in second, both of whom are flying those M50s with the utmost precision. Those magnificent men in their flying machines.
Dragon Pog bringing up the rear, but again, it's anyone's game. This is still very early on, and it's a long race. Now, the top 3 of these winners will go on to the semifinals, so you don't have to win this match to continue forward. You just have to come in the top 3. So we may see some more careful driving here, careful flying here to secure a second or third place. No reason to kind of beat out the top leaders unless you're absolutely going for that iota of pride.
Absolutely. So it's like qualifying at any other racetrack. You just have to get there within the top spots to keep yourself in the field, and it's all about that final race. So looks like not many changes so far in the leaderboards here. I, of course, eat my words immediately. No, I stand corrected. It is still Zeron, VG Vert, then Blunchox, with Dragon of Pog holding into 4th place. Dragon of Pog, of course, really wanting to get themselves up into 3rd to carry themselves through for a chance at the money prize.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like
Zeron. Looks like VG Vert is now in the lead. Or?
Yeah, VG Vert named first. Zeron had an unfortunate encounter of the close kind with the wall.
Zeron slipped to 3rd place.
And Blunchox claiming that 2nd place quite tidily. Lap times in this one are a little bit slower than the last run, but they're certainly trying their absolute darndest to thread these fine ships. Works through the points.
Beachvert's still taking the place, even though he has hit the wall. Looks like a couple times.
Yeah, tis just a scratch. It'll be fine. It'll buff out. You just take it to the nearest crucible and you'll be fine. No worries.
Coming into the 2nd lap here, it's still a very tight race. We're only looking at a few seconds difference between the leaders, and again, it is a long race.
Yeah, it's a bit of a marathon. So they'll go through turn 1 down to turn 2. Feeding the needle down to the 3rd, 4th, 5th slalom, which is where you most commonly see people lose time.
And Zeron has fought his way back to 2nd place.
Solid effort there. Firmly stamping Blunchox back into his place in 3rd.
Again, going with that theory that you don't have to have the fastest lap time in order to be placing higher than an opponent.
Oh, absolutely not. Because you can throw down a fantastic lap followed by a couple of terrible ones, or a couple of terrible ones followed by a fastest lap, and it's not going to keep you at 1st place.
Not at all. Right now, it's a matter of how nimble are you, and how fast can you beat your opponents in a full race, a full heat, rather than a single lap. Zeron.
Remember, the way to qualify for this tournament is to submit your lap times and your position on the leaderboard.
VG has a blazing fast 1:35.97. I think that's faster than even our winner of last one.
We've seen so far this tournament on this track. It's certainly the pace to set with a 1:35 with a 9 at the end, and VG Vert doing their very best to make sure that people behind don't, in fact, have a chance to catch up. Someone's having a bit of a bad time with that ring.
And VG is, of course, the top-ranked player, top-ranked pilot in this map, in the game, the entire game.
Of all time?
On this map. Yeah. Of all time.
So it looks like we are experiencing some minor netcode issues where the spectator is not being given the same information that the player is sending. This does happen occasionally. This game is in alpha. We are getting a revisit of it. It looks like VG Vert has claimed top spot on the leaderboard with Blunchox in 2nd and Zeron in 3rd. Blunchox obviously just eking out Zeron for
1 second. Well, 1 second.
Corrected. It swapped before the finish. Zeron, then Blunchox.
Then Zeron, then wait. Zeron barely beating Bluntrox. 1 second best lap difference.
Oh, dang. Those are some nice close runs there. Very, very nice racing from both. From all the players involved. Dragon of Pog closing out what we can see on our screen with 4th place. Some pretty exciting racing there. Some definitely demonstrating that skill of the first placed ranked player, with VG Vert just stating, "I am here and I am here to stay."
He is stamping his planting his flag, stamping his foot, saying, "I am the player to beat right now." for the rest of the players. So we'll have to keep an eye on him as we go through to the semifinals. That is 2 quarterfinals down.
And
So we're going to do qualifier 4. Go ahead.
If VG Vert was able to, he would be buying advertising on this track saying, "I am number 1." But unfortunately, Origin Jumpworks not selling that advertising space at this point in time. We'll have to buy some advertising on the side of a hull E instead.
I am kind of confused as to why Origin wants to put their billboards up there just to see broken ships fly past them and smash into them, specifically M50s. It always seems like a bad marketing tactic to me, but I'm not a marketer.
Look, they refer to it as a high impact marketing, and it's targeting a specific audience, which is to say the next of kin partaking.
So we're going to be doing the 4th qualifier match here shortly. The 4th qualifier is, of course, Gordon, Dan McSharp, Treefish, Gnark, and Rockety Corey for the quarterfinals.
Should be a pretty good race there, actually. I've seen Gordon on the leaderboards before, and Treefish as well. Not to be confused with Treefishy, but certainly another name to be recognised. So should be a fun race to watch. Again, it's always the matter of working out, will we see another fleet of M50s, or will someone bring something a little bit screwy?
I'm still hoping for an Aurora.
Oh, yeah. Again, the offer still stands, folks. If we see an Aurora take out the victory, I owe you a case, as long as you're over the legal drinking age in your area, and I can import it there.
That's a sharp challenge for those of you doing the Acrux rapes. So
it's all a matter of how confident you really are.
So going forward, it seems like our 2 players to watch are VG and Cats. I'm going to be wondering how VG does versus Cats in that 350R.
I think certainly the Cats in the 350R, it's on a straight, you can't overtake it. It's not going to happen. But this track is all about tight, twisty stuff with short bursts of top speed between them. So acceleration, 350 does win, but the 350 doesn't carry quite as much speed through some of those turns. So,
it looks like the next one's going to start, but there are only 3 contestants. So it may be just a nice practice round for these contestants.
A perfect time to take your Aurora out for a spin, folks. Unfortunately, I don't think that the players will agree for some reason.
I don't know why they wouldn't.
Confuses me.
Here we go, and the race has started.
And it looks like it is a fleet of M50s. Or is it? It's a squadron or
a wing, maybe.
A wing of 350s, yeah. Sorry, a ring of M50s. Yeah. That's about right. With the very glorious setting that we have here at the New Horizon Raceway. It's a beautiful place above the planet Green. You can find, of course, some lovely beaches and bars in the area if you're interested.
That's a short plug for your bar. Am I guessing? That's right.
I'd never do that.
No, of course not. Totally professional here at the CruxCup.
Yeah.
And we don't stop off at a Spaceborne bar at the afterwards either. Not at all.
Absolutely not. It's the space bar before the end of the universe.
Sounds like a dumb name. There we have the leader. Looks like
really casual racing at this point. Things are Gordon P, then G-Knock, and then Treefish. So a couple of no-shows for this race, unfortunately. However, Gordon P, G-Knock, and Treefish, good opportunity to just throw in an extra couple of laps, maybe take some risks they wouldn't normally say. So they wouldn't normally take to see if they can pull off some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, we're hoping. Maybe push that line time, see how fast you can go.
Or do you dark horse it and just throw in a casual 2 minute?
That is true. Yeah, you could be seeing that your opponent's looking at your lap times, not necessarily watching this live, and could just be looking at them going, I don't have to worry about them. They did a 2-minute lap, you know.
It's or not, or they could just throw down a cash 145.
Casual 145.
Puts them
Wow.
right up at the top of the pointy end of this track. Very, very good stuff from Gordon F there. A name I will be honest, I haven't seen before today. Followed, unfortunately, immediately by an impact win.
Yeah. Looks like it doesn't really matter too much, though, because most of the other ships have crashed here this one.
Of course, by attending, they have managed to get through to the next round.
We'll see. It'll be interesting because I believe the winner of the Aurora Classic was in one of these type of matches. It might have been the Open, one of the Open quarterfinals. Actually ended up winning it all, and he was in a 3-person race at the end, I believe. So this could you never know. These could just casually beat everybody else.
It's quite nice though for a racer in this position to know that all you need to do is get out there and get your ship to the end, rather than having to press yourself. Because when you are doing races like that where you've not got no pressure, you don't worry so much, which means you're racing smoother, which means you're racing faster. Because
that's the key, though.
It's fast. Snappy is slow, and you can see these players really mashing that boost button, using the decouples, trying to get these ships around these turns as quickly as they can to get the ship pointed in the right direction so they can hit the afterburner again. It's the whole way that these ships work is you just get the ship pointed in the right direction, afterburn, duck through whatever shortcuts you can, and again, brake before the next turn, decouple, turn it again, throw it around the corner, and you're good to go. The less time you spend turning, the faster you're going. With just some ridiculous lap times being thrown down at the moment. You got still a 145 from Gordon F. Hasn't managed to beat it so far, but 215 from the person in second place with
Treatfitting.
Throwing out a 213. Bring up the bottom, which again, these aren't bad times. They are certainly faster than most players can get around this track, but comparatively with the creme de la creme of the racing community here, that is not unfortunately going to cut it.
Yeah, Treefish has managed to better his time to 157, going to the final lap here at this quarterfinal heat.
And
I think it's nice and easy.
The accuracy from these pilots is ridiculous. You can see them just gently nudging it around those gaps on turns 3, 4, and 5.
They have a lot of practice with this.
It is such a hard turn to get correct, and getting that turn correct is sort of saving you 4 to 5 seconds a lap, which is ridiculous. It's a huge advantage once you get that one worked out, but it requires so much skill and just knife-like precision to get it done.
Coming to this final lap, it looks like a clear victory for our leader, Gordon, and Treefish coming in second. There we go. Gordon has won.
G-Knock coming in third. So 1 minute 41 from Gordon F. Treefish throwing down 157, and G-Knock with a 211. 141. Very, very nice lap time there from Gordon F. Just gliding on through to a very comfortable victory, which is always nice.
Yeah, that was all of these contestants will be moving on to the final or the semifinal match, the semifinals. So they've got a pretty easy race. This one, this was the race they could throw away, and Gordon actually managed to bring a pretty good game here at the Acrux quarterfinal. 141 is a very respectable time.
Absolutely. So it's kind of, you look at that, you look at 141, it's 6 seconds behind VG Vert, so not quite on pace there, but very nice position to be in coming into the semifinals with a nice confident victory.
That actually puts him at second place in terms of fastest lap here at the quarterfinals. Number one being VG Vert at 135.9, and third place being Cats at 143.27. So put him solidly in the middle there. Gordon might actually be a racer to look out for coming into this.
If you can string together a set of 3 laps of that sort of speed, then that's quite comfortably, according to what we're seeing right now, going to place you in second or third place.
Exactly. And that's only, again, with a map as long as Defford is, you can still lose it all in that last bit. All you got to do is shave off a couple of seconds here or there, and VG just has to make 1 or 2 mistakes, and suddenly VG finds himself in second.
Here and there, but if you shave off a piece of your ship, you're down to second.
Yeah.
So
I believe we might be going into the last quarterfinal heat here before going into the semifinals.
That does sound correct. So should be seeing the next race, which will be looks like it's going to be, no, that can't be right.
Backbone, Shadow, Amiga Kid, Sens, and Alucard Ailstorm. So depends on.
My data's showing that that race has already been run. Quarterfinals 2 is showing it.
Oh, it looks like that is being shown as done. Yeah, with 2 racers. So we might be going into the semifinals here. Yeah.
So progressing from that racing question was Backbone and Sens. Backbone throwing down a best lap of 1:52, and Sens throwing down a best lap of 2 minutes 12. So that puts Backbone in a top 6 of the speed. So it's not bad. Definitely enough to be a threat. But,
it looks like semifinals 1 is going to be the race to look at right now. Cats, Sens, Cats, VG Vert, Zeron, and Gordon all being in the same heat there for the semifinals. So doing semifinals 1. Awesome. All right, so we're moving on to semifinals 1. This is going to be an interesting sight for sure.
Absolutely. So, again, we are very sorry for the slightly delayed commentary on this one. We are reliant on less information than we'd like to have, but we're hopefully going to have more information with a future package. So that's my excuse, and I'm sticking with it.
Now, what are these guys going to be winning, though, Farisol? What are they battling for, other than being the top of the top, the best racer in the verse? What are they going to be getting away with if they end up here at the finals?
Prize pool is over $500 worth of ships. You're looking at third place wins an LGI Misk Prospector. Second place wins an LGI Aegis Eclipse. Then first place wins a fairly ridiculous prize of an LGI Defender and an LGI Aopa Cartuel, the Cartuel Scout. So it's a truly ridiculous prize for the winner of that one. Do correct myself. Sorry, it is a 24-month insurance Cartuel,
which can be actually swapped for an M50 direct swap if you like.
The information we just had is that Cats, the famously fast 350R racer, has switched to an M50. See if the talent from the 350R does carry across to that M50 from the black and yellow beast that is the 350R. Yeah, this is going to be a race to watch. This is going to be a very close race. It's either going to be a very close race or a very dead one. We have some of the best racers we've seen in the quarterfinals, all in the same heat. We have Cats, who won the quarterfinal 3. We have VG, who won quarterfinal 1. We have Gordon, who won quarterfinal 4. And we also have Zeron, who came in very, very close in second in the quarterfinal 1 at 145, beating out or almost beating out several of the winners here
almost beating out Gordon and Katz in terms of time. So it's going to be a very close race.
And remember, folks, all you need to do in this race is get top 3. It's not a race for first. Just get to top 3. So, we'll definitely see how things go. But this one should be quite an exciting race.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting race to see. And again, we still have our dark horses of Sens and Oligi. So they may come in and show us something different, because Oligi did get a 149 in quarterfinal 3. So there's no counting out that. And Sens, while he did get a much lower time of 2 minutes 12 seconds, still could come out of the race swinging on top. Who knows?
It's always down to the rhythm that you build up for the track. Once you lose the rhythm on the track by messing up one turn, you can take quite a long time to catch it again. At least that's always been the experience that I've had. It's when you do throw down a great lap, if you do lose your rhythm just a little bit, be that being stuck behind someone or missing a turn, it takes a bit to get back on track.
Indeed. So we're waiting for this to get set up right here. Again, CruxCup is brought to you by SCA, the Southern Cross Alliance, Australian, New Zealand organization. Been putting together the CruxCup for over 3 years so far here with Star Citizen. And
I would highly recommend signing up. You can join the Open or the Aurora's class. If you do feel that you have the sufficient bragging rights to join the Invitational, you also get in contact with them and show them your place on the leaderboard, saying like, look, here I am.
Exactly. Now, going forward, the racing is going to get very interesting in the game. We're seeing many changes to the code. 3.0 is going to bring in different power plants, and of course, maneuvering thrusters and main engines are all going to be consuming power at different rates, as well as possibly even adding some lighter loadouts, and loadouts actually mattering in terms of speed costs much more in racing than we've seen before. So who knows? We could be seeing some significant changes here in the near future. So be prepared. Practice yourselves. Practice on your Arena Commander copies here for the next year's CruxCup once 3.0 drops, and maybe you will be the best racer here at CruxCup in 2948.
It's certainly going to be interesting to see what happens in the next 6 to 12 months of the game. We will be seeing some major changes to ship handling and ship speeds through the upgrade system, also through just the trickle-down changes that they are making to the way that ships are built in Star Citizen. Also, it could be some pretty major changes, things like adding atmospheric flight characteristics to tracks like this one, which would mean you are getting that danger overspeed warning if you are going a little bit too quick. And your ship doesn't have the aerodynamic ability to go that fast in atmosphere. Of course, the other problem would be that the people in these incredibly expensive apartment blocks and resort areas would complain if you went past more than the speed of sound. And don't annoy the tourists. You will suffer.
Well, you don't have the problem with that on green, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely not.
They're there to hear those sonic booms.
The only sonic boom you really hear is when someone fires up a bass cannon at a nightclub.
All right, we're getting this match started. This is semifinal 1, probably the most anticipated match or heat I have seen in the CruxCup this year. Katz, VG, Zeron, Gordon, all going head to head. And even the two trailing times are still nothing to sneeze at. So we'll see how they come out the block here shortly. Then of course we have semifinals 2 coming up after this. So stick with us as for 2947 CruxCup. We had a crash here. Last minute, so we have to reform the party.
Shouldn't be too much.
All right,
they are reforming the party, so don't mind us as we pad for time and say, Tripper, if you aren't so interested in joining a organization like SCA, the Southern Cross Alliance, Can you think of any other organizations that might want to be joined here in Star Citizen?
I don't know. Depends on your likes, but you can find out. You can find out who is the best squadron when you go to robertspaceindustries.com/organizations. Just saying.
Absolutely. You may also notice that on the leaderboards, there are certain names that show up quite often.
Just a few. Now, while we are stalling for time, let us do some shameless plugging. Where can everyone find you, Farisol?
Why, I'm available on Twitch 7 days a week. I do stream. I am varying my game content a bit recently. I've not been streaming Star Citizen for a couple of months while we do wait for the 3.0 patch. But I'm on Twitch at twitch.tv/Farazalt. Of interest to me, though, is where do I find you, Paul Bizarro1 Batman, the Astropub, Shelley?
Well, you can find me at the Astropub, your space bar at the end of Twitch, 7 days a week. 6 days a week. Where we do space and space-related games, as well as some non-space-related games. Star Citizen, we've been doing some Dauntless and some other stuff. But if you like space, you like drinking, then the Astropub is the place you should be going to, twitch.tv/the Astropub. And the Astropub pretty much everywhere else, Twitter, and so on.
I will drink to that. Looks like we are just about up and running for the next one. After that shameless plug, also, folks, do not forget to stop by our major sponsors for this stream, which is MISC, Musashi Industrial Starflight Concern, and Big Benny's Noodles. So
yum. So wow.
Yes. Recent studies have not shown any significant link to recent deaths.
None whatsoever. And there is no MSG.
Despite how much fun monosodium glutamate is. It's delicious, but not very nutritious.
So we're going to be switching over to the semifinals 2, if the voice in my head is telling me correctly. So we're going to be watching the Backbone, Nighthawk, Kalrati, Blunt Rocks, Treefish, and Narok. That's 2 of the winners from quarterfinals 2. And of course, I think the favorite to win in my mind would be probably Backbone here, who won the quarterfinals 2. Though Blunt Rocks was not too far off. Their times are not too different. So, who are your favorites here at the semifinals 2 here, Parasol?
I think it's a tough call. I don't think we've seen the best from any of these players yet. I do think Backbone has a solid chance. I'd also like to see Blunt Rocks do a bit better than he did in the last race, unfortunately. So if I were to have to put down $1 on the bar table, I'd probably have to go with Blunt Rocks for now. I do honestly vote of confidence in there, and unfortunately you voted the commentator's curse as well.
That's true. Yeah, I forgot about the commentator's curse. So I apologize, Backbone and Blunt Rocks.
It is a genuine challenge overcoming that curse sometimes. You see it all the time at races. The commentators will be like, this person is a solid favorite, comes in dead last.
It happens every time. I don't know why or how, but it does. Woo.
Of course, the only way around it is to recommend everyone. So they're all going to win, definitely.
They're all going to. Everyone's a winner. I can't even. I need to drink just after saying that.
No? Okay. With Scotch, you too can win. Scotch, official drink of this stream.
So, again, this is the Acrux Invitational. So you should be following along with us here to see the times of your favorite racers and as well as to look up the prizes and everything at CruxCup.com. CruxCup.com/brackets is where you can find all of the racers and their heats. And of course, that's where you can find a stylish t-shirt for Crux Cup 2947, featuring the Misk Razor on the front, as well as all of our sponsors, the SCA, Big Benny's Noodles, and of course, Misk, Musashi is it International? Industrial, Starflight Concern.
Industrial and Starflight Concern, indeed. Gotta love them. They're also providing to the package, the winning package, we will be seeing an LCI Misk Prospector for third place, an Aegis Eclipse for second place, and a Defender and Cartuel to the winner of today's Invitational. It's very big prizes up and running, and really looking forward to seeing who manages to claim that prize as their very own, whilst they feed the souls of featured souls.
Waiting for everyone to set up here for semifinals 2. As always, alpha is alpha. So
alpha is alpha.
Looking at the times now, the updated times, it actually looks like the fastest racer is still VG Vert at 135.9. And Gordon is actually the second fastest at 141.7.
Fast laps.
With Cat at 143.2, coming in close third, then Zeron at 145.7. And finally, with fifth, we have Olegi at 149.7. So under 150 to the top 5, and there's a lot of 150s in this last list. So there's definitely some room for movement up the charts here for these faster laps. Though I do still think VG being the racer to beat, having the top slot on the leaderboards, as well as being the fastest racer here so far at the Acrux Invitational.
100%, absolutely, like owning the title of fastest right now, fastest on the leaderboard, fastest in the top speeds here on the track, and really trying to do their very best to ensure the depression sets in amongst the lower seeded players.
But as we've said before, the mental attitude of going into a race, a lot of these racers race in online matches solo in many cases. So the key for this is to how well do you do against other players? How well do you do if you make a small mistake? Can you make up the time? Can you make up your difference? And in a race like this, with where distance matters more than anything else, how do you deal with fatigue? Because even though it is short races, we're looking at 4 or 5 minute races. You're still looking at 4 or 5 minutes of you being hyper aware. So
I've heard from some people the best way to deal with it is to wear a beer helmet with a pair of energy drinks in it.
Sounds like a plan to me. All right. Well, due to technical difficulties, we're moving back to the semifinals 1 for the Acrux. I believe we're still waiting for everyone to set up here. Again, this is the heat to look out for. Cats, VG Vert, Zeron, Gordon, even Olegi pulling in some very respectable times. The top 4 of the top 5 racers are in this race. 4 of the top 5. That's insane. This is going to be a very, very closely contested race.
We saw it the first time it was played through. It was already a tight race, but here they come. Look at that precision and skill as they all fire themselves down the chute towards the slalom. Unfortunately, that one was not a particularly great success of skill, hitting the first ring. But you'll see they'll break, throw it straight across the side, slot through that second ring, through the third ring, up to the fourth, and they're through. It is absolute precision needed on that track, and any failure is punished very harshly.
Looking at the leaderboards right now, it looks like it's pretty close. Though are the favorite to win has been died a couple times. He's actually falling last place. He's suffering from the commentator curse. It looks like.
Oh, 100%.
He should not stop talking.
Zeron in first. Solid effort from Zeron. Cat 740 fighting for first place though. Gordon F just tucked in just behind them. We will see what happens there. But either way, lots of shenanigans are afoot. The game, as I say, is afoot as these players throw themselves around. This the longest and most challenging, both mentally and on the ship, around this track.
Yeah, finishing this race with a less than whole ship is going to be hard on you. God forbid you hit a thruster and knock it out. So it's definitely a test of skill not to run into things, let alone just getting into first place. And though these pilots who are getting to the first place are using every single shortcut they can find, which means going through buildings and tiny little alleys in some cases around them, that makes up a difference in the time, but it can also ruin your ship.
Absolutely. There's some shortcuts on this particular track that don't even involve going between two buildings. They involve going through a single building. It is that tight to get through. But some of these players are 100% throwing it down that every lap, 3 in a row, taking that risk to shave off that couple of milliseconds that they need.
Yeah, it looks like Cats and Zeron.
145. Zeron, however, with a 143. Gordon F and VG Vert pretty close together as they are duking it out on the leaderboards with 150s.
This is absolutely what we expected to see with this match. Top 4 are battling it out for first, second, and third and fourth, swapping just seconds apart from each other. VG now in third place, but Gordon still could pull it out here at the end. This is
you can feel the afterburner through the cockpit. It is properly close racing at the moment.
Yeah, you could probably see the sweat beating off of the other pilot's face from this distance in terms of how close these pilots are from each other. Any small mistake will make a huge difference.
If it didn't add drag, you'd put marshmallows on the outside of the thing so you could cook some, make some s'mores after the race.
Yes.
But tell you what, there's some pretty fantastic racing here. You can see them throwing them around. They're decoupling before turns. They're getting their ship turned as quickly as possible. And some of them, I think there may even be 1 or 2 players who are running entirely decoupled.
Possibly. I mean, we're looking at some very furious flying here, coming into the second lap, going into the third. It is exciting to watch here for sure. These guys are putting it all. This is for some of these guys. This may be the decider between going to the championship or not going to championship. And like I said, these are the.
Oh, wow. VGVert's claimed third place back into the top 3.
At a 132 lap. Holy. He is just burning it up right now. He's doing his best to make up the difference.
It's a little bit worried about the health of those afterburners at this point. Those are some very well-used tools of the trade to try to catch up. But again, top of the leaderboards for a reason.
Oh, Zeron has taken the lead. VG in second. VG claiming the first. Man.
Amazing recovery from being in last place by Ring 2 is now suddenly back into first place after a unfortunate interaction with the ring at the start-finish line. Oh, that's some darn fine racing right there.
Fantastic racing here coming to the last lap.
Looks like VG Cats has caught the unfortunately solid shape of a building, but is recovering and hasn't appeared to have lost.
VG has taken it with Zeron being second, Cats being third, seconds apart from each other.
That is some seriously tight racing. That is very, very close.
Looks like 4 seconds separating between VG Vert and Zeron. And 6 seconds between Cats and Zeron. That is insane. The differences in lap times is absolutely minuscule, and the race times showing off how tight this race actually was.
Oh, VG Vert, however, just coming back from 6th place, best lap of 1:31. That's 8 seconds faster than the nearest. That is very, very convincing racing. I'm fairly sure somewhere in VG Vert's head they know something that we don't.
I mean, obviously, VG Verts is still continuing to show why he is the top of the leaderboards here on the Defford racetrack. He knows the ins and outs, the ups and downs, the backwards and forwards of this racetrack. And coming from 6th to 1st with 4 of the best racers in this heat, that was a fantastic achievement right there.
That is just absolute ownership of the title. That's very much placed themselves as the person to beat in the finals, also securing their position in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
That was the semi-finals. Top 3 do proceed. We are leading ourselves into heat number 2. Sorry, the second of the semifinals.
Heat semifinal 2. Heat 2 of semifinals. We got Backbone, Nighthawk, Kalrati, Blunt Rocks, Treefish, and Narok. I believe Backbone is the person to beat. However, Treefish, while a much longer time, did get 151 out of that race. So technically he went faster, but I don't know.
Interesting to watch. Blunt Rocks with 155. So there's some certainly some players. I don't think we'll be quite seeing the speeds we did in the last one, but this should still be good as a field of 350s, of M50s come flying out of the start-finish line.
Looks like we have
It does sound like we have had a bugged start-finish line where it hasn't actually started the race. So we will be resetting that one and getting up and running again shortly.
Yes, looks like that.
This is the unfortunate downside to the alpha state of Star Citizen. We are still experiencing some minor technical glitches, which have gone onto the kind of important listing on fixing.
We hope.
Not critical, but kind of important.
These races, I mean, I think that the championship is going to be a no holds bar, winner take all. It's going to be some of the best racing we have seen in this CruxCup so far will be had at this championship. I mean,
absolutely. I do think it's going to be hard to get past VG's fantastic race just then, coming from dead last to take the victory in a team like that. It is a bit absurd managing to pull that off with that field. So very, very solid effort. Like ridiculously solid effort.
So, of course, the winners are going to be winning some fantastic prizes as well. Third place is a LTI Misk Prospector. Second place is an LTI Aegis Eclipse. And the first place being an LTI Defender with a 24-month Car2 All combo pack there for the Acrux Championship. And of course, if you want to own a piece of Star Citizen and CruxCup history, you can at CruxCup.com. Very bottom of the page there, you'll see the CruxCup 2947 shirts with the Misk Razor, the soon-to-be racer ship to be released. It has the on the back, it has the CruxCup logo, and of course, the logos of our sponsors, Big Benny Noodles and Musashi Industrial Starflight Concern, as well as the sponsors of this race and owners of the race, the SCA, Southern Cross Alliance.
They're a team, they're an organization you certainly should consider, especially if you are in New Zealand or Australia, as they are very focused on racing and having a good time. They are a group that I've seen regularly hanging out at bars, just drinking, and I'd say discussing Star Citizen, but mostly just drinking.
Mostly just drinking. They are Aussies, yeah. I've been told that if I say Aussies one more time, there will be a lynch mob that will kill me. So I have to continue to.
It's actually pronounced lynch mob.
Lynch mob. All right, we got another restart here, but man, whew, that was a insane, and I mean insane race for the semifinals. I don't know how we're going to get a final match that beats that with the top four heat, top four in the quarters going against each other. However, these semifinal two is no slouches either. I mean, Backbone and Blunt are both sub 155 or 150 or sub 2 minutes racing with. Backbone at 152 and Blunt Rocks at 155. Then again, they have to beat a 131 of VG to be able to win. Like, God, that's insane.
Setting the almost insurmountable wall, isn't it? It's like trying to get your head around the fact that you've got to try to beat that it's hard. It's really hard looking at your personal bests and then seeing VG Vert most likely throwing down laps that are just faster than that again and again and again.
All right, we're finally up with the semifinals 2 heat here. see if how this goes. There's a Car2All racing.
Around. Always good to see. Looks like a fleet of M50s plus a Car2L. Car2L actually quite a bold move on this particular track because of the size of some of the holes that you're having to throw your ship through to be competitive in here. It's bigger than the Car2L is. It's like the holes are smaller than the Car2L. So having to take some longer routes there, unfortunately. But
even the straightaway, you had to turn sideways to get through that main tunnel there. So
it's certainly they're putting a bit of a handicap, but the Car2L does have very good maneuverability. So is it enough to pick up is it enough to keep up with an M50? Probably not, but it's certainly going to try. Looks like Backbone, Nork in the first two, followed by Nighthawk, Calrati, Bluntrox, and Treefish.
Oh, Bluntrox falling to the back there. He does have the ability to make up this time. We did see it before, but I don't know. Backbone.
Now seeing these names swapping around quite a lot. Nighthawk suddenly dropping down to 5th. Bluntrox up to 4th. Bluntrox up to 3rd. Hot dang!
He's picking up the time.
Trying to collect them as we watch the gorgeous Car2L Dragonfly style ship come flying through. It certainly makes racing look good, doesn't it?
Indeed. It makes it look fantastic. If only it would have this higher top speeds.
That would certainly help the ship. Until, of course, it doesn't make things look very graceful by spinning like a ballerina after impacting with a ring.
That is the problem with these rings. They are literally almost as big as the Car2 in itself. Backbone coming through with the leader so far at 154 even.
154 flat. That is a very, very nice lap. 209 from Nork. So quite a lot of time to catch up there, unfortunately. But we will see if Nork, Calrati, Bluntfox, Nighthawk, or Treefish can chase down our current leader, which is Backbone.
So,
our current third placer, Calrati, is the brave soul in the Space Starfish. So, hopefully,
yeah,
I'd love to see this make it to the finals.
We've got a 10-second gap between our 4th and 3rd place, though. So that's going to be a heck of a time to make up for. If the 3rd place or 4th place isn't an M50, so they could make up the gap. Bluntrock's back down to the bottom again. Backbone taking a significant lead here.
As we come into the conclusion of the second lap. Looks like, whoa, that was a love tap from above just then. The
Backbone still leading
with
Noise in second.
Then Calrati in the Car2L, Nighthawk, Bluntrox, and Treefish taking up the back of the pack. Treefish, unfortunately, not managing to make a position back yet. Hopefully, can pull off a couple of good laps to claim back at least some dignity.
We are coming to the last lap here. This is more important than I think even the first lap. Because races are won here, as we saw with VG pulling ahead at the last minute, going from last place in lap 1 to first place in lap 3.
Oh, it's always the case. Lap 3 is where you win or lose a race. It's really nice having a great big buffer at the start, but a buffer doesn't mean anything if you stuff up the last lap. So we should be seeing here. It's always interesting to theorize as to what sort of control input people are running here. We do know that in the past, in Star Citizen, there has been a player at the top of the leaderboards using a racing wheel. So, you know.
Who knows? Maybe one of these players is using a racing wheel. Though I have heard that the racers tend to prefer a dual stick for the control that they have over it, especially in decoupled mode. So
it is hard to look past the extra control surface ability that you've got from dual sticks. But again, we're seeing many people playing keyboard and mouse, other people running into things. We'll see what happens. That's some fairly large amount of wreckage. Look at that grace of the Cartuel ducking around behind this MV.
It looks like there's been some pileups here.
Certainly appears to have been a couple of stacks.
Looking at Backbone still in the lead with Nors and Blunt Rocks. Is that Blunt Rocks on third place?
Third.
He pulled it out in the last bit. He's rocking a 158 lap that time too.
Hot dang. Treefish in fourth. Nighthawk in fifth. Kalrati in sixth.
Blackbone has taken it.
R2L has dropped down to the last place. Backbone in first. Still waiting for the finishes on second and third so we can call it official. But as it stands right now, it's Nork and Bluntrocks.
Very good race. Of course, Blunt Rock's coming down from the bottom of the pack to third place. That's a significant lead there. There seemed to have been a pile up sometime there in the middle of the third lap. And Blunt Rocks took absolute advantage of those crashes to take over.
Looks like Bluntrocks and Nork have finished, cementing their position in the final with a fairly solid showing. Despite what we're seeing in that best lap times, it is all about that race. So about getting that course actually finished. Now, if you do excuse us, we are going to take a very short break before we come into the finals.
Yes.
We shouldn't be more than a couple of minutes, but thank you for hanging out with us. This is the 2947 CruxCup, the greatest racing course and the longest running racing course here in Star Citizen. So hopefully we'll see you again momentarily.
Take this time, get yourself some beverages, refreshments. It's going to get intense here as we go into the finals of the Acrux Championship, the Invitational here on the 2947 CruxCup.
And we are back. Thank you for your patience and tolerance as we are getting ready for the finals of this, the invitational segment of the CruxCup, otherwise known as the Acrux. So we shall see who is the final and fastest fiend in the verse. So
I think that the top three here in from the semifinal one heat are going to be the ones to beat. I mean, VG blew me away with those racing times. I don't know how anyone can beat him. But then again, VG did start off in 6th place at that point. So, and when he's facing against the best from the other races, who knows? He may not be able to pull ahead. Though I expect a very tense and a very close race here for the championships.
I think letting VG get too much of a mental advantage in this situation is going to be to the detriment of everyone else. So it does almost become everyone versus VG. But this one is the money pool. This one is going for the top 3, winning some pretty fantastic prizes. So good luck to everyone taking part. May the commentator's curse not strike you down.
We hope not. May the game not be bugged, which it is. Oh.
So when we are saying the game is bugged, what's actually happening is the countdown finishes, or the countdown doesn't actually start, basically. So everyone ready's up, you're good to go, but the game isn't good to go.
Yep.
And, you're just kind of stuck doing not a lot of anything. So they are just reforming it. Should be up and running. The finalists for this one are, in fact, Raven CW, Robazar, Gimp Kid, Dude 3D, Vandel, and Better Cheddar. Better Cheddar rounding that one out. I do think
that you're reading off the Auroras.
I apologize. I'm reading.
Who were fantastic, by the way. But
those folks were fantastic. I love them. I love their faces so much.
So I believe the winners are we're getting VG, Zeron, Cats, Backbone, Nork, and Blunt Rocks are the top 6. Backbone, Blunt Rocks, Cats, Zeron, and VG Vert. Of those, I think it's hard to say because their times were phenomenal. All of their times are amazing.
It's going to be very, very difficult to really pick a favorite. I think VG Vert's going into this one a comfortable favorite, but there's a lot of option when it comes to position 2 and 3, because everyone on that list is pulling 2-minute or below laps, and all you need to do is have a couple of smooth laps in a row, and you'll suddenly find yourself in the top 3 quite happily.
Now, I'm going to take this time to shill out the T-shirt like we've been doing all night because, we got to cover for time, but also because the T-shirt is a fantastic T-shirt. If you go to CruxCup.com, at the very bottom of the page, you will see a picture of the T-shirt in all different angles. It has the wonderful Misk razor on the front, kind of off-center, plus the CruxCup logo in the back, and, of course, on the sides, the sponsors, including Musashi Industrial Starflight Concern, otherwise known as MISC, the Southern Cross Alliance, the SEA, who will host this event, and of course, Big Benny Noodles.
Best product, Big Benny Noodles.
Big Benny Noodles.
So yum, so wow.
Now with less MSG.
Yes, and they are in fact all you need to go alone in the verse. Well, them and maybe some water and possibly some fuel, but let's be honest, it's the noodles that count.
Indeed. But it is a fantastic shirt for anyone who is a Star Citizen fan, so I definitely suggest getting it.
And very much looking forward to seeing what these players do. I do believe there has been talk that the winner can trade their winning package for a shirt if they want to. But I don't know. Would you want the shirt more, or the the combo package that the winner gets, which is a LTI Defender plus a 24-month Cartuel?
Well, I would say that the combo is decent, but that shirt is fucking fantastic. I'm just saying. So we'll see. Right, this is a live broadcast. My bad.
So very much the challenge. I think the real fight on this one is going to be fighting against the G-forces, because all these pilots are going to be pushing themselves to their personal best margins and beyond them. So it's a matter of trying not to black out or red out or pass.
Yeah, that's the hard part here is to prevent yourself from blacking out in these turns, because there is a lot of turns here, and apparently we're invisible. So.
See, nothing. But
now I am both Fair Assault and myself, and now we're both Fair Assault. Stand by.
Everything is fine. So we will be seeing some pretty exciting racing. I'm really looking forward to what we are coming up to. They are just forming everything up at the moment, whilst we fix a minor technical issue of everything catching on fire. So bear with us a moment.
It's only minor. It's only minor. Now, I will say that I don't know. I really don't know if we can top that semifinal one race. That was an absolute nail biter and fantastic flying on all sides.
There was some very, very nice lap times thrown down. There was some great racing done, but VG unfortunately exploded at the start line effectively and had a catch-up game the whole time, but still managed to throw it down with like just a cash 130. Which is ridiculously fast. But VG is the top of the leaderboard for a reason.
Indeed.
So we shall see what happens. We're back. Greetings. I'm obviously more important than the Astropub because
I am very small. I am a very small person.
Thank you so much to the back-end support team here, which is, let's be honest, I'm going to name and shame him right now, Dragon Diablos.
Thank you, Diablos.
Leader of the Brotherhood of Nod. So
he is very handy with a sniper rifle, not so much with streaming. But it's all right. Here we are definitely looking forward to this final match here. But take some time. You got to use the restroom. Come to hit the head. Grab something to eat. Maybe go out and buy yourself that nice T-shirt. And check out check out the wonderful Fair Assault, twitch.tv/Fair Assault, and maybe stop by the Astropub, twitch.tv/the Astropub.
You may find yourself imbibing a drink or two on either the sandy beaches of Planet Green in the Ellis system or the rocky shores of despair at the edge of the universe.
The cold embrace of space.
Living what we call the Spacer's Dilemma, which is how do you drink the beer you're holding wearing a spacesuit? That
is a good question. Very carefully is the answer.
I'm sure that Drake has a product. Absolutely certain of it.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
So we are leading up to the finals. They are forming up at the moment and should be running momentarily, where we get to see, does VG hold the title of fastest racer, or will someone dethrone them in the final race?
I mean, we do have some fantastic races. He still has to worry about the top two or the second and third place seats for the first heat. So he could easily be thrown by either of those, and then you still got Backbone and Narc and Blunt, who could still come out. They still came in with a respectable 145, 154, and 2 minute fastest lap times. So
it's worth pointing out that a 2 minute lap time in this track is very good.
Yes. You won't find the best racers in the game get a 2 minute lap time. I mean, easily get a 2 minute lap time. It's anything below 2:30 is really, really good for Deffert. So,
no argument from me. That is a very, very quick lap if you're throwing down a 2:30. But it's unfortunately not quite fast enough around here.
No, not when you have VG throwing down 131 very casually after coming back from 6th place to come to 1st place. I don't know how this is going to happen. However, if you are interested in future CruxCup tournaments or races, 2948 of the CruxCup signups will be held sometime next year. So
it's also worth pointing out right now, if you look at the leaderboards right now, VGvert, also in this race, has a fastest lap of all time at 132. And VGvert's best is at 128.9. So there's more to go on. But again, we'll see what happens. There's a lot of opportunity here for things to happen.
All right, we have another technical restart here. Some technical issues. It seems to be always when you get down to the finals, you have all of these technical issues.
Everything's perfectly fine until everything catches on fire.
Yes, that is. You wonder when they'll make a fireproof studio here at Twitch.tv, but they always seem to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Never going to happen.
Fireproof alcohol used around here.
And on top of that, you also have the curse, the utter curse of the commentators. So because we nearly cost VG the entirety of his career by saying he's the favorite when he came into 6th place, but he decided to beat the curse single-handedly. So who knows?
So we are very much looking forward to seeing how these guys go. But yeah, VGvert. Fastest lap on his leaderboard time is a 128. Cat's leaderboard time fastest lap is a 132. Gordon fastest lap on a leaderboard time is 140. Zeron with a 140 as well, fastest lap. There's some seriously fast stuff here. Energy 141.
I believe you're reading the open.
This is bonkers. These are the times I've been seeing on the RSI leaderboards, by the way.
Oh, on the leaderboards, okay.
So if you're interested, this is all DEFID link info over on the RSI website. So you can see that there's definitely room for improvement on the best laps we've been seeing our players throwing down, including VGvert, who could be throwing down a 128 on themselves.
Yeah, VGvert has pulled out a 128 before. Cats has pulled down a 132, and well, that's not quite fast enough as fast as here. But some of these names we've seen before. Zeron's in the match, Backbone's in the match. Energy was in an older match. In fact, Olegi, who was in here earlier, he had a 140 lap in top 15. In fact, if you are a sub 140. You probably are some of the fastest laps in the game right now.
Absolutely. Even if you're sub 150, that's still a first pager. That's a really fast race. It does appear that our backhand support team has prepared a fire extinguisher. Hopefully, it's full of either water or some sort of retardant. The fire extinguishers I use around here, which tend to be full of vodka.
Vodka. Or the joke one that shoots out plastic and paper snakes everywhere. It's always important to differentiate the two. And please, if you ever own a restaurant or a bar, please do not put joke fire extinguishers. Yeah, that's a bad one.
Not very helpful.
Not very helpful.
Do, however, put scotch behind the bar.
Please do. Scotch. The unofficial sponsor of the 2947 CruxCup.
However, if you are watching and do work for Johnny Walker, do get in contact with us. We are looking for sponsorship.
We'll put you on a very sweet t-shirt.
So we should see what's happening here. They are reforming. Shouldn't take too much longer. Again, we apologize for the delay here. As with everything, the best laid plans don't survive the first encounter with the alpha.
With the alpha. Alpha is alpha, unfortunately.
Yes.
However, again, the prizes are pretty substantial here. Even third place, you're going to be walking away with a Prospector. Second place, walking away with an Eclipse. And first place, the Big Kahuna, comes with 2 fantastic prizes, an LTI Defender and a 24-month Cartu All. Both are fantastic ships, great deals, and absolutely wonderful prizes for the kind of skill we've been seeing here at the Acrux.
All the prizes we are seeing are supported by the shirt sales and also kindly donated by the people of the SCA. So
Southern
SCA, check them out on the RSI website. There are a bunch of really cool peeps.
Mm-hmm.
They're paying me in peanuts, beer, and shirts. Looks like we are up and running. They have got the countdown. This is a successful start, it looks like, as they come tearing out of the start-finish line. That is a fleet of RSIs, of M50s.
A bunch of deaths here suddenly.
So
there's some very aggressive flying here. Cats dying. Almost the entire game is dying. I have no idea who's in first place right now.
It is the daily challenge. Is the trick is you got to find a point between playing conservatively and being competitive, and that is a very, very tough line to balance.
Looks like VG is off to an early lead. That's a dangerous proposition for the other pilots, because VG, if he gets this lead, he's going to hold on to it. He's going to hold on to it like a mama bear on her cub, never letting go. Because
the other problem that we have is with VG. VG can fly at sort of 9/10 and still be faster than most of the other players. So it's a bit of an issue, but hopefully we will see our glorious current leader hold things together. However, the other team are thinking bad thoughts towards them.
Anything can happen. Xeron in second place, Cats in third.
Cats not breaking out the 350R for this one, is becoming a conformist and sailing around that M50.
Now, Cats is the number 2 lap leader here and the number 2 all-time leader for this race. So it really is a fight between VG and Cats. However, all of the other racers here are on the top 25. These are some of the best racers in the game going head-to-head against each other.
100%. So VG vert throwing down 133, Zero on 145, Backbone surprising us with a 148, and Cats throwing down a 154. Backbone somehow appearing into third place at the finish of the first lap. Now we've got about 4 minutes to go on this race, and that's 4 minutes of high pressure for these pilots.
It's still all Cats or VG verts race to lose at this point.
With this sort of a lead, with that sort of a lap time, the only way that I can see the other players managing to catch them is either pulling out a personal best time and VG having a bit of a dirt moment.
It's getting real tense here as these pilots are finishing within seconds of each other here. Looks like Backbone and Cats are fighting for third place. Backbone surging ahead to second, going back to third. Cats
literally swapping paces at the moment. They're probably side by side, ducking, dodging, diving, and dipping, trying to hold on to second place for that glorious victory package.
It is a very tight race here coming to the second lap. VG dying. That's a dangerous proposition for VG.
Managing to catch something solid and exploding. With this sort of racing, probably a blackout is the leading cause of deaths in these sort of situations.
2 deaths. We're still looking at VG vert in first, Backbone in second, and Xeron in third.
So
this is the worst place to hit death. Though those those deaths could be intentional, because if you die, you do respawn with all of your boost fuel. Oh, you don't respawn for the boost fuel, so it's probably an accident, I guess. So we're dealing with VG's got to make up that time. He's got to try to keep pulling ahead of his competitors, because he is competing against the best racers. He's made already 2 mistakes, and it's been kind to him, but not by much.
Well, those lap times are a bit showing with the 132, 138, and then a 143 for the top 3. It's pretty tight stuff, but unfortunately, Genock is not quite giving up at the back, throwing down a 2-minute 20. So Genock is unfortunately at this point just filling out the field. But VG Vert, Backbone, and Xeron all doing their very best to VG Vert confirming their victory as the AI pilot slams into something shortly afterwards.
VG, Backbone.
And it's looking like it's going to be Xeron at this rate. But we won't know until either the timeout or the finish line.
Backbone with a very impressive 130 finished out his second place run.
You've got to feel a little bit bad for Katz on that one, though, because Katz came in moments after Xeron and threw down a
2 seconds.
138.
Yeah. Very impressive. Some of the best.
I'd also like to point out right now that Backbone just threw down a 130.
Yeah, people turned on a 130. That may be a personal best for Backbone. I don't know. That's a better race than I have seen on the leaderboards. That is very fantastic for Backbone.
Absolutely. So that VGVert's, Backbone, and Xeron are our top 3 here in the 2947 CruxCup Invitational, the Acrux. So very, very big congratulations to the winners there. That was some pretty exciting racing as everyone really flew with some excellent precision, despite a couple of unfortunate incidents for VG Vert. Still managed to hold on to first place.
He managed to hold on to it. That early lead really gave him the breathing room he needed. But the second and third places were hotly contested.
Oh, absolutely. We saw them through laps 1, 2, and 3, swapping places. So some pretty strenuous racing there. Split in the end by less than 2 seconds. So that's a fantastic race.
Absolutely. All the racers who made it to the championship should feel themselves, should be proud of themselves, tap themselves in the back. They made an amazing race, a great show here tonight at the Acrux Championship here at CruxCup 2947. And of course, we want to do a big shout out to the winners, VG Vert, Backbone, and
Xeron.
Xeron.
Absolutely throwing things out. I would also like to say a very big thank you to the organizers of the event, which is the SCA, the Southern Cross Alliance on Star Citizen. Do have a look at the organization page. You can catch all the details at the bottom of the CruxCup website. They do the Discord and everything running. Also, if you would like to join in this event next year, either as a talking head like ourselves or as a competitor, do get in contact with the organizers as they to.
Anyways, thank you so much for stopping with us here at CruxCup. Make sure you hit that follow button if you haven't already done so. And of course, we see you back next year on 2948 CruxCup. Until then, you should definitely get that t-shirt. Tell them you were here. Maybe if you're going to Gamescom, you can get a sign. Who knows?
Gamescom, make sure to tell them Paul sent you.
Yes, tell them Paul sent you. Tell them Paul sent you, and then afterwards tell them that Ferrisalt is a wonderful person. That's all you have to say. So again,
so much for all your time. We've been going for quite a few hours today, and I've seen a bunch of faces here the entire duration. Y'all are amazing. Love your faces, and we will see you around the verse because we're not going anywhere. Take it out.
Fly safe, everyone.